Hello, how are you?
No, no. You need a random.
Okay. I think we can get started. So I'll call the meeting of the Redistricting Commission to order. Clerk, can you call the roll?
Yes, Jonathan Bronze. Linka Wright. Oh, sorry, I didn't hear you there, Linka.
Present.
Thank you. BJ Fado.
Here.
Silvio Alvarez. Freddie Sidbury.
Here.
Andrew Ditlevson.
Here.
Ramon Martinez. Enadina Cardenas.
Here.
Gloria Collins.
Here.
Dee Berrigan.
Here.
And Fred Buzo.
Present.
Thank you. You have a quorum.
All right, great. So we'll move on to item number 2, which is action items, final recommendation on City of San Jose Council district maps. I think at this point, I would ask redistricting partners whether or not we should start with them, or if we should just have go straight to the 2 community maps that are going to be presented to us today. Do I see Chris on?
Hi, Chris actually will not be joining us this evening. My name is Jacob Thompson Fisher. I'm the CTO, Chief Technology Officer with Redistricting Partners. I'll be sitting in with you tonight. I'm happy to do some speaking, but I believe our inbound information was that staff had something to communicate to you on the topic, and then we would cover details after that if necessary. Staff, please feel free to correct me.
I didn't really have anything to talk about other than the process of that. We're going to have the final maps. We have the community map people here to present any changes they have. We have the Unity map people here to present the changes they submitted on Sunday. And then you guys had no changes on the D4 map. So we have no changes on the commission map to highlight. We did want to look at overlays on the maps to see their difference, if that's possible, so we can see the changes. And I also had talked about asking you guys, I talked this morning, have you kind of go over, are the maps legal? Like, are all 3 maps, would they pass the legal test?
Sure.
So, Jacob, why don't we do this then? Why don't we have the folks who are going to be presenting their updates on their maps do that first, and then that way, you can get that information and then comment on the legality of all the maps.
Sure.
In their final iteration.
Sounds great.
So why don't we proceed that way, Tony? Let's have the presentations first. And I believe at the last meeting, there was a motion to limit the community presentations to 5 minutes on these 2 maps. And then that was confirmed this morning by the clerk's office that the motion was made, seconded, and passed.
And I've just let over the Unity map person. I'm not seeing the 2 community map people here. I'm going to email them to make sure. They may have thought we're starting at 7.
Okay. Thanks, Tony. So Jeffrey, looks like you're on then.
Great, members of the commission. I think Andreas Quintero was going to join, but maybe just for expedience, I'll start, and if Andreas is able to join and chime in, he will. Let me do a share screen real quick. Okay, so we were able to submit a final map from the Unity Mapping Table. Again, this is on behalf of the NAACP, the Asian Law Alliance, the Latino Leadership Alliance, the La Raza Roundtable de California, South Bay Labor Council, and Silicon Valley Rising Action. You know, in our final map, you'll see that it's the lowest deviation map presented to you. So it's the best map in terms of keeping to the essential district redistricting principle, one person, one vote. We still retain much of the same structure of the previous maps we submitted, but this is what it looks like. You saw it in the packet, but I'll go through the individual changes. So we discussed this last time, but we hadn't actually uploaded the map itself. I don't think the redistricting partners had gotten to do the full workup of the changes. So some of these changes you've seen in presentation before, but haven't been presented to the public in the fully worked up package in the legislative file. So Mount Pleasant and Clayton goes back into District 5 from District 8. Dove Hill moves from District 8 to District 7. District 1 retains the entirety of the Corey neighborhood. We didn't understand the lines that the Corey neighborhood Association considers their lines are different than what the city has as the lines of their neighborhood. District 3 is retaining the Tamian neighborhood in that southwest corner of the old District 3. Gardner and Delmas Park are moving into District 6. Again, for compactness, we heard some questions about, hey, the map kind of dips in. So for compactness purposes and for bringing the Dearden area neighborhood groups fully into one district, we moved that into District 6. There was a couple blocks of the South University Association that were in D6. We moved those back into D3 to keep that association whole. The VEP neighborhoods are fully within District 2 with revisions. The Four Corners neighborhoods are fully within District 9. There was a small portion from D4 along the Capitol, Marbury, and Rough and Ready that formerly was in our District 5. We returned that to District 4. The Madera Horning Neighborhood Association had been in District 6. We moved that into District 3. We added a couple of census blocks in the eastern edge of District 6 to be able to contain the entirety of the newly proposed property-based improvement district, all within District 6. We were able, in the lines of drawing District 6 and District 9, able to keep the majority of the LGBTQ plus residents. Equality California had noted in their community of interest testimony and the key landmarks of the LGBTQ plus community in San Jose. And I believe there may be someone testifying from that civil rights organization in support of the map later. We also straightened up the boundary in terms of where Willow Glen is split between District 6 and District 9. We're still keeping it in 2 districts as the map does today, but we're changing the lines. So you may hear testimony about Willow Glen being broken up. Willow Glen has always been in 2 districts, and we're simply, the different maps of the table have different lines for where that split occurs. Waterford Park and some of the neighboring communities we added back to District 2 for compactness issues. So wanted to just, before we had a comparison table, and wanted to share an update on that comparison table with the 3 maps before you. Looking at citizen voting age population across the 3 separate maps, you'll see that the community map actually has a reduction in Asian, Black, and Latinx voters by about 2.3% per district for districts 2 through 8, which are, you know, generally the city's most diverse districts. The D4 map similarly has a 1.7% reduction across Black, Asian, and Latinx. Oh gosh, I put the wrong figure in. Across Latinx residents. And so I think again, this is worth consideration. I can grab the figure here in a second if folks are interested in seeing it for the Latinx population. But again, a consideration. Also, we've heard concerns about compactness. We were able to take the shapefile for the community map, for our map, and look at the common measures of compactness, the alternate Schwartzberg, the Rio, and the polypopser. I think the redistricting partners folks can speak to those different methods. And it looks like for those three measures, and some of those measures, our map is more compact, and other measures, the community map is more compact. Thank you so much. I realize I hit my time.
Thank you, Jeffrey. Tony, do we have the?
I
the other
think
presenter?
Cheryl is, I think Cheryl is
I
here.
see her. Yep,
Yeah.
I see her right there. Thank you, Cheryl.
Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so Sonia's going to run the slides and I'm going to talk. Did you enable Sonia, Tony?
Yeah, she just popped on. I've been keeping an eye out for her.
Okay, so as soon as the slides come up, then I'll talk to the slides.
She just needs to click accept presenter, and it looks like she just clicked it.
Okay. Thank you. I'll probably talk a little fast to keep in my 5 minutes. Okay, let me see. Let me know when it's ready to go here. Oh, is Sonia on there?
Yes.
Okay, let
Once
me know when you have the slides ready to go.
Yeah, they're ready to go.
Ready? Okay, okay, so I will start talking now. So this is a community map 5.0 update. Next slide. Next slide. Sonia?
Yes.
Did you, okay. Of all the 3 maps being considered, our map adheres closest to existing communities and council lines. It has the smallest number of San Jose residents moved between districts. Our community map moves approximately 43,000 people, which is 4% of the San Jose, while the Unity map moves approximately 160,000 people between districts, 4 times more than the community map. And we have the lowest overall demographic change per district. Next slide. This map shows the current outline of the city districts and the 2020 census population. Ideal target is 101,000. District 3 and 4 have the highest populations, and 9 and 10 have the lowest. Next slide. This is a community map 5.0 where we've noted areas that have changed from the current boundaries. Current boundaries are in black. I'll go through this map a little bit, starting in District 4, which is top right. First thing we needed in order to move toward balancing the population, the first focus was on reducing District 4 population. Districts 3 and 5 took from the North Valley and along Maybury, and the northern section of Checkers up to Plumas was moved into District 5. District 3 was kept intact at the southern boundary down to Alma Street to keep Guadalupe, Washington, Goodyear, Mastic, and Spartan Keys in District 3. So to reduce excess population in 3, the airport, Rosemary Gardens, Civic Center, and the excess portion of Newhall and Coleman Street down to Market were moved into. And the northern part of Gardner was also moved to District 6. The Diridon area and Delmas were included in downtown. The population increase in District 9 came from moving Canoas Garden and Farm Rubino into District 9, and District 10, part of Communication Hill was moved into District 10. Other changes were made to maintain contiguity, such as Alum Rock and Ramblewood. Willowvale was adjusted to Houston, and Little Portugal Business District was corrected to include the businesses along Santa Clara Street. Next slide. The following 3 slides show a comparison of the proposed changes in demographics for all 3 maps. This slide shows the increase or decrease in Asian, Latinx, white, and Black for each district. Across the bottom are the 10 district lines. The overall spread for the community map is 4.9%, with District 5 having the largest change, increased 2.6 Asian and decreased 2.2 Latinx. Next slide. The Unity map has an overall spread of 13%. The largest change is in District 6, where the white population has been reduced by 7.5%, and the Latinx population was increased by 4.1, making District 6 no longer a white majority district. Also in District 3, the Asian population increased by 5.5 and white decreased by 3.3. District 2, Latinx increased by 2.4, white decreased by 3. In District 9 and 10, the white population was increased by approximately 4% in each district, which increases the already white majority in those districts. The Unity map has the most significant demographic changes throughout the city. Next slide. The Commission's D4 map has an overall spread of 8.2%, with the largest changes being in District 3, with a 4.1 increase in Asians and a 4.1 decrease in Latinx, and District 7, which increases the Latinx by 2.6% and decreases the Asian population by 1.9. Next slide. The community map has distinct differences from both of the other maps, and it has the lowest amount of demographic changes and minimizes disruption to existing boundaries. We request that the community map be included in the recommendation to the City Council so they can review it for themselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Cheryl.
Thank you.
And thank you, Sonia.
My 5 minutes. Thank you.
So at this point, Jacob, I think there were some questions that were presented to you at the beginning of the meeting by the clerk's office about the legality of, at least on their face, and maybe this is something that the city attorney can also talk about, but at least on their face and by, given the information that we currently know, would we be able to proceed in consideration of all three of these maps tonight?
Absolutely. I can definitely speak to that. I can't speak to it strictly as a matter of this is or is not legal. I can speak to it as adherence to what we consider traditional guidelines and standards.
Sure.
Council will have to give you final opinion on legality and enforcement issues. As a matter of adherence to traditional standards, normal guidelines, and best practices, I don't see any outstanding issues with any of these three maps. They all appear to result in a roughly equal number of what we would consider VRA protected seats. They consider, they appear to consider most metrics that we would take into account. They are all coming from different positions and approaches to the process, but they don't appear to violate any of the traditional principles that we hold. So I hope that somewhat answers the question without giving you legal opinion, which of course is something we can't do, but that council can potentially and hopefully speak to for you.
No, it does. Thank you.
Excellent.
Really appreciate that.
Of course.
Based on, City Attorney Vanni, did you want to interject anything?
No, I think that's a fair description. The city attorney's office is evaluating all the maps and will provide its advice on various issues that each map may pose. The Voting Rights Act is a fact-intensive or can be a fact-intensive inquiry, and we are looking at those issues. To respond to the question that was raised last week, I want to do that regarding whether or not the entire map can be invalidated. That's very unlikely to occur in a Voting Rights Act case, unless the entire map, for whatever reason, is invalid and would be construed as diluting minority votes. But as we've done with redistricting and just moving district lines around, if you do have to move boundaries, then it can have spillover effects. But the Voting Rights Act does look at individual districts as their own and whether they hold up. As I mentioned, we are evaluating it. The City Council has final say and approval of these maps, and that type of advice and counsel will be provided to them. But as I mentioned in the past, there's nothing about these maps that gives any any pause to say full stop, don't approve this map. But again, as I mentioned, that counsel and advice will be provided to City Council at the appropriate time.
Okay, thank you. Do any of my fellow commissioners have questions on this particular topic? I don't see any questions at this moment. Okay, so then let's move on to consideration of the final maps. I think that if it's okay with my fellow commissioners, I think we could start with public comment and then move on to our own discussion of the final maps, since we aren't going to be doing any redrawing for the, so is that fine? Great. So Tony, why don't we move on to public comment at this point?
Okay, I currently have the numbers rising. I currently have 13, but the number is rapidly rising. So when the number settles, I'll re-announce how many hands we have up. We have a total of 140 attendees in the meeting. Our first speaker is Winifred Cooper. And it's 2-minute or 1-minute timer?
You know what, why don't we do a 1-minute timer?
Okay, Winifred Cooper is first, followed by Ingrid Molt. Winifred, go ahead. Okay, I'm going to move on to Ingrid Molt, and followed by Paul Soto, and we'll go back to Winifred after a couple of people. Ingrid?
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, my name is Ingrid Molt, and I'm simply a resident of this county and a strong believer in equality, equal voting rights, and equal opportunities for all, and to end divisiveness. The Santa Clara County Restricting Unity Map and the San Jose Unity Map provides just that. It disturbs me greatly that we see the same disturbing tendencies in Santa Clara County and in San Jose that are tearing our great country and states apart. Please look through an objective lens and base your decisions to benefit the people that actually live in this space, in this city, and not people with an interest that don't even live here. Thank you.
Paul Soto, followed by Winifred Cooper.
My name is Paul Soto. I'm from the Horseshoe, and D11 was the designation for the Horseshoe. These maps are illegitimate. They are illegal. Willow Glen is exercising power that it derived from creating the redlining map in the first place. How dare they? How dare that district even think that there is any legitimacy to any input that they have here when the redlining maps and the racist policies that reverberated throughout generations? I'm part of that. From these redlining maps stem the segregation. From that segregation, they beat Mexican kids on the east side for speaking Spanish in the schools. And you think that's not going to be atoned for? That doesn't need to be reckoned with and reconciled? What kind of human beings are you? These maps are illegitimate unless the redlining map is centered, front and center. And then we're going to talk about equity. And then we're going to talk about what it means to be a human being and acknowledge the inhumanity by which we profited from. The inhumanity that we were treated with in Sasipuedes, it's sitting in.
Winifred Cooper. Okay, Winifred can put her hand back up if she comes back. T. Henry. T. Henry. One last time for T. Henry, and then I'll move on to Carlos Barba. After Carlos Barba is call-in user 1, followed by Jill Borders.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Carlos Barba. resident of the Washington Guadalupe Neighborhood Association, Vice President, sorry. This is a message on behalf of the board. We are neighbors in the greater Washington area, which consists of the Guadalupe, Washington, Tamian, and Goodyear Mastic neighborhoods in District 3. These areas are beautiful and culturally significant to our Latino community. We're here to let you all know that these areas cannot be divided into multiple council districts. For over 40 years, we've fought hard to make sure that we have city resources to help our most neediest in our area. Splitting us into the Willow Glen neighborhood will not be helpful. And as a matter of fact, it'll hurt our progress. And along with that, it's shameful that more affluent areas in District 3 want us out of the district, and that candidates who are running for city council have worked on various maps, especially the unity map, to further this agenda.
Call-in user 1, followed by Jill Borders.
It's really clear what this is. I mean, everybody knows it. It's a power grab. It's a power. This city, county, state, run by Democrats, just wanting more and more power. It's all fueled by this monster they call Sue Ellenberg. She's the one, man. She's gunning for this. Right? I mean, and she's evil. She wants to gerrymander this thing so it looks like a pitchfork. Think about that. Keep it the same. We don't need any more people on the payroll in the city of San Jose. We don't need to be redistricted. It's a power grab. Plain and simple. Look, the Democratic Party is blowing a lot of smoke right now. Don't inhale. Even if you're a Democrat and you think it's going to be all well and good, it's not going to be. It's wrong, and they're using all these groups, gays and Latino.
Jill Borders, followed by Bien Don.
Hi, a lot of attention has been paid to a lot of districts, but it seems like District 2 and District 10 on the unity map, no one is talking about that in my opinion, and I just wish that I had more information. I am not against any changes really. I want to stay in District 10. Right now they've got us going into District 2. I'm a part of San Jose. I'm gonna work with anyone I need to work with. I'm happy about that. However, I really want some explanation from the people from the unity map why they found it necessary to have two districts that are very, very long, kind of going across, instead of keeping them the way they were as best they could. So you've got District 10 now being all along the foothills, all the way down, and then you've got District 2 coming all the way across, all the way to Pioneer High School. And I called all day long to talk to Jeffrey Buchanan or anyone else, and I can't get any answers. So I'd love some help with that. Thank you.
Bien Don, followed by Nathan Ulsh. Bien Don.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Well, my family has been living here in the valley about 36 years, and I've looked at the unity map. It does not represent the Vietnamese community, and I want to be represented with the community map, not the unity map. So I highly recommend that the community map should be presented and recommended to the city council. Thank you very much.
Nathan Ulsh, followed by Ted Earl.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Perfect, thank you. Good evening, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Nathan Ulsh, the Director of Policy and Operations at the San Jose Downtown Association. We serve and represent over 1,800 business and property owners, majority being small business owners. We want to thank you, Commissioners, redistricting partners, dedicating several long nights to this important topic. I'd like to begin by mentioning that there is a need to keep downtown PBID and BID districts intact, along with our neighborhoods. Wolfram Schneider and myself presented a map a few weeks ago, followed by the community map, referencing several reasons to keep downtown neighborhoods together. After undergoing numerous improvements from community feedback, we would like to provide profound support for the well thought out and diligent work that was committed for Community Map 5.0. This map does a great job balancing population, demographics, and neighborhood cohesiveness that responded to the communities from many different council districts. Ultimately, this keeps everything intact. That said, we commend Sonia and Cheryl for their time and dedication and strongly recommend that the Redistricting Commission submits this community map to council. Thank you.
Ted Earl, followed by Wolfram Schneider.
Good evening, commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I'm Ted Earl. I'm the president of Thousand Oaks Neighborhood Association in District 9. Once again, speaking tonight in favor of the community map. I think Cheryl made good points in saying that this map adheres closest to the existing communities and in council district lines. And it's the smallest number of San Jose residents move between the districts, and it also has the lowest overall demographic changes per district. So I just want to once again voice my support for Cheryl and the group and all the hard work that they did on that map. It seems to best represent our interests and the overall interests of San Jose. And I yield back the rest of my time. Thank you.
Wolfram Schneider, followed by Doris Lavezzi.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Wolfram Schneider. I live in downtown San Jose. The unity map would divide, my neighborhood into two different districts. So going across the street would be a different district. I really urge you to go with a community map 5.0 and keep downtown together. Thank you.
Doris Lavezzi, followed by Sandra D.
Yes, this is Doris Livesey. I've been a San Jose resident. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I've been a San Jose resident for over 50 years. I'm requesting that you forward the community map. Although it has some flaws, it does represent the districts the best without being too political. But there are several district divisions, such as downtown, that are drastic changes in the unity map. And so therefore, the community map represents the population and the demographics the best. Thank you.
Sandra D, followed by Spencer Horowitz. And we have 44 hands up currently.
Commissioners, for your time and efforts. I do not envy you. I would like to emphasize my personal and the support of my family for the community map. We request that this map be forwarded to the council. The map was developed by unpaid volunteer community members with the goals of maintaining existing district boundaries as much as possible, with input from neighborhoods throughout San Jose as well. They demonstrated that they're moving the least amount of people. I also want to comment, I do not understand what was being done in D2 and D10. That area under the unity map is totally unacceptable, as well as what they've done down in District 3 and to Willow Glen. We support the community map. Please move the community map forward. Thank you and good luck, people.
Spencer Horowitz, followed by Miss Rayan Mendoza.
Yes, thank you. Can I be heard?
Yes.
I also want to urge you to adapt the community map. It was very obvious from today's presentation that it moves the least number of people into new districts, and that should be the goal. As opposed to that, the unity map seems to maximize moving people into new districts, which seems to be an effort to rejigger the political landscape in the city. I strongly urge you to adopt the community map. My wife and I have been residents of this city for 32 years, and the community map is the fairest of the maps being presented here today. Thank you, and I will yield the rest of my time.
Ms. Rayan Mendoza, followed by Ryan Jones.
Hello, yeah. My name is Ms. Rayan Mendoza. I'm part of District 7 of this beautiful city of San Jose. Make no mistakes, we're all here for the same reasons. We love and we care about our community. We want to protect it. And I support the unity map because that's what it does to my community. Okay. Yes, it's different, but different is good. Okay. Change is good. I understand that some people, when other people rises, some people get spooked. Don't worry, be happy. It's part of evolution. See, times are not like before. We're not going to stay silent any longer. Okay. A great man said, you cannot uneducate the person who has learned how to read, and you cannot humiliate the person who feels pride. You cannot oppress the people who are not afraid any longer, okay? take that. Si se puede, and we're not going nowhere. Change is coming, okay? You like it or not, and you guys better pass the unity map to the city council.
Sorry, I'm in the
okay?
middle of a Zoom meeting.
Thank you very much.
You can call.
Ryan Jones, followed by WW. Ryan Jones, we're going to promote you to panelist because your Zoom is outdated. So when you're done speaking, we'll move you back into the attendees. So it'll be Ryan Jones followed by WW.
All right, you ready there?
Yes.
Okay. Thanks for taking my hand. I am calling in support of the Unity map. I am a District 6 resident. It's the one that keeps and brings communities and neighborhoods together. It's the map that is completely fair and it has no discrimination. That's really all I have to say at this moment. Please forward that to City Council for acceptance. Thank you.
Okay, WW followed by David Binney.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay,
Yes.
my name is Wei Liu. I am Asian American. I'm an immigrant, have been living in San Jose for more than 20 years. Right now I live in San Jose downtown. I support the community map and strongly against the unity map and default map. And I think they do not best represent the interest of the people in our district. I suggest the community map should be recommended to the city council. Thank you.
David Binney followed by caller with the phone number ending 0319.
Good evening, Commissioners. My name is David Beanie. I'm the Executive Director of the Santa Clara and San Benito Counties Building and Construction Trades Council. I'm speaking today for our 35,000 members, many of whom live and work in San Jose. Our council is in strong support of the Unity map. This map will unravel the gerrymandering of earlier generations. It's going to rebalance our city council districts for better representation. The Unity map was drawn by the civil rights groups and the cultural organizations that we look to for recommendations on equity. Now is not the time to ignore these voices. The fate of our communities for the next 10 years and beyond depends on our attention to these voices now. I urge you to support equity of representation based on our population of today. I urge you to support the Unity map and not try to keep yesterday's district. Thank you.
Caller 0319, press *6 to unmute, followed by Melissa Gott Lopez.
Hi, good evening. My name is Tina Morrill. I live in the Venn neighborhood in District 3, where I have lived for over 20 years. I am in support of the community map, not the unity map. I do not want to see our neighborhood split off from other neighborhoods that we have worked with for decades on issues that we share, problems, successes, etc. Please move the community map forward. Thank you.
Melissa Gott Lopez, followed by Kimmy.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, thank you. My name is Melissa Gott Lopez, and I'm the president of the Mount Pleasant Neighborhood Association in District 5. Just calling to tell or to say to the commissioners and to the city clerk, thank you for your work in this process. I'm certain it's been arduous, and I appreciate the effort that has been put into it. As you stated in your previous meeting, I believe you're going to forward 3 maps to the city council. I look forward to seeing those 3 maps forwarded to the city council and beginning the process there with our city council persons. Thank you again for your service, and I look forward to the next step. Thank you.
Kimmy, followed by John Hessler.
This is Kimmy. I live in District 10, and I support the community map It keeps my neighborhood and my community together. And the community map must be recommended to the city council. And I oppose the unity map that only provide the fake narrative of minority are oppressed. We are so lucky. I'm the Asian American first generation, and we are so blessed to be here. Here has all the opportunity for us. If it's in our home country, we will not have this much opportunities. So stop lying. You know, we are so blessed, and with all the support from Americans, and stop hating American, stop hating America, and you guys have to stop that. And I strongly oppose the unity.
John Hessler, followed by Todd Williams.
Good evening, Commissioners. I would like to voice my strong support for the community map. It is the map that comes from the community, from our citizens, unlike the unity map, which is clearly the product of a number of special interest groups with goals and objectives that, in my opinion, are not consistent with what is supposed to be happening for redistricting. Most importantly, the community map affects the least number of people. It just moves boundaries to balance things, which was the original intent of the redistricting process. So again, my strong support for the community map. Thank you.
Todd Williams, followed by Nancy.
When I first heard the term unity map, I was intrigued. Then when I noticed the backing of the various renowned civil rights groups, I was even more interested. Upon further investigation, I saw phrases like voter suppression, redlining, segregation, and righting the wrongs of the past. I took pause. Looking deeper, I do not see any consensus achieved. And actually, none of this is in the charter for the Redistricting Commission, especially as a primary goal. At the different commission meetings, I started noticing the other maps being adjusted based on boundaries and community of interest input, while the unity map remained virtually untouched, even though there's been an outpouring of community testimony. The very small Vendome neighborhood has strongly voiced concerns about the splitting of the downtown core, and especially about being carved out from the downtown. Yet there has been no real change other than the suggestion of splitting our neighborhood in half. It seems like retaliation.
Nancy, followed by Hector Moreno.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, I live in the D3 my whole life. I've lived here my whole life, and I love my neighborhood. I love the Vendome and Japantown, of which I am extremely involved. Therefore, I support the community map, which keeps us together, and it's what the unity map does without destroying our communities. The community map uses legal and natural boundaries. The unity map is anything but legal and natural, and would take away all the healthy efforts ever achieved to keep D3 and all of downtown working in unison to make neighborhoods safer, greener, healthier. And I believe without the community map, D3 will fall apart, which it seems that is the goal of the unity map. The community map will represent everyone and keep us cohesive. Thank you so much.
Hector Moreno, followed by Marissa G.
Good evening, members of the board. Thank you for all your hard work. I'm here to speak in support of the unity map and vote and speak against the community map. The community map would reduce the voice of Latinx, Blacks, and Asian voters by 2.3% per district compared to the unity map, while also increasing the voice of white homeowners in areas like Willow Glen, Central San Jose, by pushing out thousands of diverse renter families from District 6. So please move the unity map forward. Thank you, and I yield the rest of my time. Thank you.
Marissa G, followed by Erica Valentine.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. I'm a renter and I would like to voice my support for the community map to be submitted to City Council. The unity map does not unify my neighborhood and does not adhere to the redistricting guidelines. Downtown and nearby neighborhoods need to stay intact. Thank you.
Erica Valentine, followed by Forrest. Erica? Erica Valentine? Okay, we're going to move on to Forrest, followed by Yuritsa Martinez.
Hello, my name is Dr. Forrest Peterson. I'm a researcher at Stanford University in the Center for Integrated Facilities Engineering. I'm calling in to lend a voice for the Unity map, and that is based on my research with career technical education in the east side of San Jose, where I have come to understand that there's redlining has a legacy in the county of Santa Clara. Bringing researchers from the East Coast, they identified that fairly quickly, where on the East Coast, redlining is better understood. I cite it as a social justice and environmental justice to my students to develop projects to look at the situation of their own communities, and I'm always impressed by the students' ability to point out things that are very obvious to them, but are not necessarily known to anybody who is looking at the community. So again, please follow the Unity map.
Yuritsa, followed by Melissa Willette.
Hi, my name is Juditsa. I am a resident of the District 7. I'm in support of the Unity map and against the community map and other maps that don't really provide every community with an equal voice. I want the Unity map to be moved and presented to the City Council. Many people have said that it's illegal or it was against the 14th Amendment, and a lot of negative things in the past about this map. But today, I mean, you guys brought somebody in and they clearly said that it's not illegal and meets measures to be moved forward. So please do so. Yeah, I want to submit the Unity map to the City Council and have them look at it and give us an opportunity to be able to move the lines to where every community has an equal voice and that no community has more say than the other. Thank you.
Melissa Willette, followed by Suzanne Maroney. Melissa, you unmuted for a second there, but you remuted.
Am I back? Okay, thank you. Hi, my name is Melissa Willette. I'm a resident of D7. I'm raising my son here. We hope to have many years in San Jose, and I'm calling in support of the Unity map. And I just want to point out that the Unity map has the lowest deviation of any maps, which means it's ensuring more equal representation for all of us here in San Jose. It does promote fairness. It ensures that communities of interest like ethnic coalitions have an equal vote in their district. It conforms to the Fair Maps Act and the California Voting Rights Act. It does also empower the Black community, which has already been devastated by displacement. So the Unity map makes the most sense. It remains compact, easy to identify whole districts, and I'm in support from D7 of the Unity map for my family going forward. Thank you.
Suzanne Maroney, followed by Sabuhi Sadiq.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
I support the community map. I've lived in San Jose my whole life. I grew up in East San Jose and have lived downtown for 50 years. Our diversity here, there's been many, many problems. Our community has come together to work as a community with all the different voices that we have, and to break it up would be ridiculous at this point. So I completely support the community map. I believe breaking up communities that have worked together to make things better for all of the residents should not be split. Thank you.
Sabuhi, oh, somebody put their hand down. Sorry, Ann Joan, followed by Roma Dawson. Ann Doan.
Hi, my name is Andon. I am a Vietnamese American. The unity map is trying to divide our community. This is not the San Diego that I want. So I'm here to support the community map. I want to represent with the community map because it is fair and it follows the restricting guidelines. So please, can you recommend the community map to the city council? Thank you.
Roma Dawson, followed by Edmundo Escargega.
Hello, I'm a District 1 resident currently. I've lived in D3 and D6. I've not participated in drawing any maps. However, I'm very concerned that I am hearing so many comments about the community map maintaining the status quo. And I respectfully submit that that should be a red flag, a big red flag. San Jose has changed. And my priority is on equity. These boundaries have moved around much, 2 and 10, 8 and 2. Susan Hammer ran as a D3 person. I believe the unity map is the best equity map. Thank you.
Edmundo Escargega, followed by Lupi.
Good evening. My name is Edmundo. I'm a lifelong San Jose resident. I grew up in District 3, where most of my family still lives. I currently live in District 2, Edenvale neighborhood. I'm here to speak in favor of the unity map. We need a map that promotes fairness and ensures that ethnic coalitions have an equal vote. The cost of rents and residential displacement has already caused us to lose a large number of Latino families in our city. The unity map is the only map to mitigate this trend. The unity map promotes fairness and keeps our communities whole. The commission needs to consider our history when these lines are drawn, or we are doing a disservice to our communities of interest. I urge the commission to move forward with the only map that truly works for San Jose, and that is the unity map. Thank you.
Lupi, followed by Jenny Zhao. Lupi? Trying what? There you go. Lupi, did you want to speak? Okay, we're going to move on. Lupi, if you change your mind and want to speak again, just put your hand back up. Jenny Zhao, followed by Ha Tran.
Hello, my name is Jenny Zhao. I am a San Jose resident for more than 20 years. I am also an Asian American. I support the unity map. I urge the commission to recommend this map to the city council. We do not support the unity map and the D4 map. They are nothing but unity, and I want the commission to move the community map to recommend to the council. Thanks.
Ha Tran, followed by Jonathan Karp.
Hi, my name is Ha Tran. I'm a San Jose resident for 41 years. Please do not support the unity map. The unity map is unfairly distributed and has a political motive. The approved map should have population equally distributed, not racial gerrymandering. Please do the right thing and reject the unity map. Thank you.
Jonathan Karp, followed by Jose Luis Pavon.
My name is Jonathan Karp. I taught at San Jose State University for 33 years. I've been a proud member of District 3 in Niggly Park for the past 20 years. Have you noticed that nobody who supports the Unity Map has impugned the motives of the folks supporting the community maps? There's no political motivation whatsoever. Anybody who doesn't understand that San Jose has a history of redlining needs to read a couple of books that have been written on that subject. The D4 and the community maps maintain those redline districts. The Unity Map keeps neighborhoods and communities of San Jose whole, including Mount Pleasant, Penitencia, Alum Rock, Berryessa, Evergreen, Navy Park, the Dearborn area, Little Saigon, Communication Hill, and Seven Trees, and was drawn with these communities' interests in mind. It promotes fairness, it promotes equity, and it's only one that actually maximizes the votes of the largest community in San Jose, the Latinx community. I strongly urge the commission to put forward the Unity Map. Thank you very much.
Jose Luis, followed by Tobin Gilman.
Good evening, San Jose City Council. My name is Jose Luis Pavon. I'm a political organizer for SEIU USWW. We represent janitors, security guards, and airport workers in the city of San Jose. We have thousands of members in the city of San Jose. I am here to support the Unity Map. We strongly urge the City Council to pass the Unity Map. The bottom line is this, that if the community map moves forward, that maintains the status quo and gives additional or maintains privilege for the higher income areas of San Jose, then you're disenfranchising the middle class, working class, and low income areas of the city, and areas have been historically disenfranchised. If you go with the Unity Map, guess what? You enfranchise the traditionally disenfranchised communities of San Jose, and the communities that have privilege, that have wealth, that have
Tobin Gilman, followed by Richard.
Hello, I'm Tobin Gilman. I'm a board member of the District 10 Leadership Coalition and president of the Greystone Park Neighborhood Association. And I'm calling to urge the commission to advance the community map. I want to compliment Ms. LeBeau and the team that worked on this. It truly is a community effort as opposed to a special interest group project. I strongly urge you to reject the Unity Map. It's clearly politically motivated, and as a District 10 resident is absolutely unacceptable. Thank you.
Richard, followed by Araceli Rueda. Richard? I'm going to call Richard one last time, then I'll move on to Araceli, followed by Rita Burrett.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Hey, this is Richard Shaw. I'm an Asian American. I'm also a longtime San Jose District resident who live in the D3 and currently live in D10. And I really strongly urge the City Council to forward a community map who is currently support all the community, and I'm really be blessed to stay with the current community as well. So I think, that's the best map to meet the best interesting for the San Jose residents. I really urge the City Council has also passed the community map as to protect the community as well. Thank you.
Araceli Rueda, followed by Rita Beretta.
Hi, good afternoon. My name is Araceli Rueda. I was born and raised in San Jose, the Seven Trees area, and I am in strong support of the Unity Map. I want to start off by saying that labor is not a special interest group. The only interest that we do have is to ensure that everyone's voice is being heard appropriately and to make sure that Black and Brown folks are being represented and have the same equal voting access and resources that folks in the upper class communities have. And the Unity Map ensures that there is proper representation all across the board, no matter your economic status or your background. And I strongly urge the council to support the Unity Map. Thank you.
Rita, followed by Jen.
Sí, buenas noches. Soy Rita Virrueta, soy residente de Valley Palms. Miembro de la Asociación de Vecinos y líder comunitario, estoy representando a más de 300 personas que viven aquí. y estoy pidiendo que por favor apoyen el mapa de la unidad porque somos una comunidad de interés que debe protegerse mediante leyes y regulaciones de redistribución. Nuestra preocupación es que si se elimina Valley Palms del Distrito 7, nuestra voz y poder político se diluyan. Porque sí, entonces insto a a la comunidad o a los comisionados que voten por favor por este mapa para que nos dejen en el Distrito 7. Gracias y buenas noches.
Jen, followed by Bob Gemello. Jen?
Hello, can you?
Yes.
Hello, can you hear me? Okay,
Yes.
good. Okay, good. Okay, I'm a West San Jose resident over 10 years. I support community map only. The community map needs to be recommended to the city council. We don't support the unity map and D4 map. They're very diverse and they're not what we want for San Jose. The community map must be included in the recommendation. Thank you.
Bob Gemello, followed by Rosalinda Aguilar.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I'm Bob Gemello. I am co-vice president of Thousand Oaks Neighborhood Association. The community map 5.0 seems to accomplish making adjustments with the least disruption to our communities. At a time of much chaos and uncertainty and political upheaval, it seems even more important to keep life as cohesive as possible. I support the community map. Thank you very much for your time.
Rosalinda, followed by Blair Beekman.
Hi, good evening, commissioners. I am Rosalinda Aguilar. I am the current president of the Guadalupe, Washington Neighborhood Association. I'm speaking on behalf of the Greater Washington area, which includes Guadalupe, Washington, Tamian, and Goodyear-Mastic. I'm speaking against not only separating our three communities, but also against moving us out of District 3. Our communities work together on issues that are unique to our three communities, such as prostitution, gang activity, food and housing resources for the neediest residents in San Jose. Separating us will dilute our collective efforts and will undermine the progress that we have made together over the years. Please keep the Greater Washington area out of District 6 and District 7 and keep us in District 3. Thank you.
Blair Beekman, followed by Maristella Tapia.
Hi, Blair Beekman here. We have these maps at this time. I hope in the next 10 years we can better consider east-west ideas of how to draw maps, and that can better address the redlining issues that are very old. The maps are pretty much lining up the same at this time, I feel, and I still like the community maps a bit better. The unity maps, the people of them give good guidelines how to work the community maps, I feel. I'm interested in how the tiny little square between District 6, 3, and 7, that can be filled in, the Willow Road area, that can be filled by District 7. And I'm interested that District 9 can have a bit more space that's next to District 7. I'm a little off in some things, all this time. Thanks for making the maps more readable this time. And hopefully we can talk again. Thank you.
Maristella Tapia, followed by Zin Hatui.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi, my name is Maristella Tapia. I am a lifelong resident of San Jose. I was born and raised here, and my parents and grandparents helped to build this city. As workers, farm workers, factory workers, cannery workers, and infrastructure workers, I'm here today in support of the unity map. This is the most democratic map that is currently being considered. It has the least amount of voter suppression and provides adequate representation to the largest constituency group in San Jose, which is the Latinos, but also elevates the voice of Asians and Black people. If San Jose really truly does care about racial equity, it will forward the unity map for consideration to the city council. Everyone here is saying that the unity map is quote unquote political. What are they doing on this call if they are not also advocating for their own political interests? When people say that
Zinn, followed by Tim Clausen.
Hi, my name is Zen. I'm Asian American and immigrant here too. I don't understand why people saying when you support a unity map, meaning that you hate American. I don't understand that. I'm here to support a unity map. Having visited to the, Santa Clara County during this period, I can deeply feel the imbalance of a resident living environment. Residents are artificially divided into different regions, which is not in line with the concept of equality. This is just another way of shutting out and giving the minority silence. Residents in the area have the right to enjoy the same living environment as well as we have equal opportunity to vote without being overlooked. So the existing division are obviously unequal. The gap between the rich and the poor is obviously between regions, and even the gap and relative independence between regions appear. If we allow the current community map to be implemented, it will cause a more unbalanced society ruled over by the privileged. Unfortunately, it is heartbreaking to see it. Thank you so much for all of your time.
Tim Clausen, followed by David Knoll.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. My name's Tim Clausen. I'm the president of the Venn Neighborhood Association. I am here to ask you to please keep the Venn in the downtown District 3. The community map takes the current district map and makes changes based on population and community input while keeping neighborhoods and established communities together. The unity map doesn't achieve this balance for everyone. At best, stretches the redistricting guidelines and is actually divisive. I challenge the commission to remove the controversial map from consideration rather than forwarding it to the political city council. In addition, I ask you to support the community map 5.0 for its fairness for all people. Thank you.
David Knoll, followed by Kathy Tran.
Hi, I strongly urge the commission to recommend the community map to the city council, recognizing its extensive volunteer grassroots efforts to preserve communities of interest and keep districts compact, contiguous, and manageable. This will enable our city council to provide the best services for all residents. I strongly oppose the unity map because it would severely complicate the development of urban villages along Blossom Hill Road from Almaden Expressway to Highway 85, which are needed to provide housing for low-income residents. It would also severely complicate managing the highly congested Almaden Expressway corridor from Blossom Hill to Branham. It would do this by injecting a narrow arm of District 2 between Districts 9 and 10, requiring 3 council offices to work together on super complicated issues and jointly attend a huge number of community meetings, potentially risking Brown Act issues. As you saw when creating the D4 map, it's really hard to address all the detailed map issues across the city. The community map folks did that for you and it produced an excellent map. Thank you.
Kathy Tran, followed by John Turner.
Hello, good evening. My name is Kathy. I'm here to speak in support of the Unity Map and the voices of working people. The community map intentionally dilutes the vote and voices of our most diverse communities. I think we have a chance to right the wrongs of redlining and promote a more fair map, and that's why I urge the Unity Map to move forward. Thank you so much for your time.
John Turner, followed by Timothy He. John Turner.
Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, thank you. I'm John Turner, president of the Daigli Park Campus Community Association of 6,000 members strong. And I want to voice my support, personal support for the community map for all the reasons that has been pointed out by very thoughtful people who have also supported this map, and reject the unity map. Thank you.
Timothy He, followed by Nancy Avila.
Hi, my name is Timothy He. I'm a San Jose resident. I have been living in San Jose for more than 20 years. I'm the VP of Evergreen Chinese American Association. So I'm supporting the community map. So please pass the community map to the recommendation to the city councils. Thank you so much.
Nancy Avila, followed by Brenda Doman.
Yes, hi. What I heard tonight talking about equity as well as the voice being heard, I couldn't help but feel pity for the Vietnamese community with over 100,000 population strong, and we still don't have a voice or a representation in the city of San Jose. So my name is Nancy Avila. I'm a Vietnamese American and president for the Vietnamese American Chamber of Commerce. I am calling to support for the community map. In my belief, each of us must try to stop the hate, racism, division that in any type of shape or form, and the remapping included. So please support the community map. Thank you.
Brenda Doman, followed by Ben Vo. Brenda Doman.
Hi, yes, thank you for allowing me to speak. My name is Brenda Doman. I'm a District 10 Leadership Coalition board member and resident of San Jose for over 26 years. We favor the community map. It was put forth by community members citywide. Real residents who live in San Jose and vote for our city council to represent us. I am in favor of the Community 5.0 map. It is not a political special interest map. It is the community map, which I'm in favor for. Let's leave special interest out of it and put forth the community map to the city council. Thank you for your time.
Ben Vo, followed by Sujin.
Hi, good evening, members of the council, members of the public. Thank you for all the work that you've been doing these past few weeks, months to bring us all together. My name is Ben. I am a lifelong San Jose resident, brought up in districts 2, 4, and 8, grew up in the Silver Creek area. And I just want to say that I strongly support and urge the council to support the Unity Map because it not only keeps our neighborhoods whole, it keeps the Evergreen neighborhood whole. It strengthens the voice of the Vietnamese community in Evergreen, as well as Silver Creek. And I think that changing, in response to some comments about changing the least amount of people, that only maintains a status quo that has kept Asian Americans out of office. Currently, council does not have an Asian American seat. So I think that the best way to rectify that is through supporting the Unity Map. Thank you.
Suwan, followed by Laura Watkins.
Yes, thank you so much for letting me talk. I'm the San Jose resident, District 1. I'm immigrant, Asian immigrant. I am strongly support a community map. During this turbulent time, please keep our community map intact. Please oppose any special interest try to divide this beautiful San Jose community. Thank you so much.
Laura Watkins, followed by Thien.
Good evening. My name is Laura Watkins. I appreciate all of the time and the consideration that each of you has committed to this process. I know that it's not an easy process. I'm a resident of the Corey neighborhood. The Unity Map moves the Corey neighborhood from District 6 to District 1. This change would effectively make the Corey neighborhood an island in a district where, due to geography, we have no connections to the other neighborhoods. I understand that the numbers have to add up, but please do not use our Corey neighborhood to simply balance equations. Thank you very much for your consideration.
Thien, followed by Andrew Macias. Tien. I just clicked ask to unmute one last time, and I'll move on to Andrew.
Hello?
Oh, there
Hello?
you go. There you go.
Hi. Hi, I'm a Vietnamese American. The Asian law Ellen does not represent me. And the unity map does not represent me. I would like to be represented with the community map. So please recommend the community map to the city council. Thank you.
Andrew Macias, followed by Betsy Hammer Carr.
Good evening, council members, and thank you for your time. My name is Andrew Macias, and I'm here to request that you forward the Unity Map. As a renter and person of color, I appreciate how it addresses the extreme inequalities I've witnessed in my 34 years of living in San Jose and how it treats the East Side with respect. While some would like to keep up with business as usual, I appreciate all the time and considerations I've been watching you all make in order to try and best serve your districts. However, the only way to do this fairly is the Unity Map. Some wealthier districts have been particularly vocal about not wanting to make these changes. I, for one, am looking forward to some fresh new ideas about how to clean up the homeless issue downtown. Some District 3 residents earlier expressed concerns about coming together about prostitution. We could definitely use some new ideas over there, it sounds like, as well. The communities it keeps in mind transcends race, religion, and gender, and to try and narrow it down to one color or another is really sad. Simply moving the boundaries without any regard for the new communities that have sprung up within our city is business as usual, and they want to fight to keep.
Betsy Hammer Carr, followed by Antonina.
Hi, my name is Betsy Hammer Carr. I just turned 70 and I've lived in District 6 my whole life. I'm here to support the Unity Map. I've been fighting against voter suppression in San Jose since I was a little kid fighting redlining in the Mayfair and Tropicana neighborhoods, and then for district elections to give a chair and a voice at the table to all San Jose residents. It's time to update those lines, and that's what the Unity Map does. San Jose has had a history of racist redlining that largely coincides with our current lines, both for neighborhoods and therefore elections. The commission must consider our history as a determinant for how we draw these lines, or we are doing a disservice to our communities of interest, who have most certainly been shaped by this racism.
Antonina, followed by H.G. Wynn.
Hello, my name is Antonina, and I'm in District 3 in Hyde Park. It's a really small neighborhood. I'm in favor of the community map. The community map keeps intact neighbors currently working together as supportive communities. As examples, our neighborhood, Hyde Park, works with Japantown. We transform a strip of land into a community park. We work with Japantown, Vendome, Northside, Horseman, Spartan Keys, and Historic Hensley regarding the siting policy that was just passed. So please, there's other examples, but please support the community map because that keeps our neighbors intact with the work that we've done so far. Thank you so much.
H.G. Wynn, followed by Gabriela Garzon Gupta.
Hi, my name is H.G. Nguyen. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Wonderful, thank you. And thank you so much for your time and effort. Obviously, there isn't a perfect map for us to choose from. And the San Jose City has a population of 42% of Asians. And it's really shameful that there is no representation of that ethnic communities in this redistricting commission. At this point, it appears that the community map looks square and even to me, and it's easy for simple residents like myself to follow. So I would like to recommend the community map. Cảm ơn rất nhiều. Muchas gracias. Thank you.
Gabriela Garzon Gupta, followed by Krista De La Torre.
Hi, my name is Gabriela Garzon Gupta. I am a resident of D9 and I'm calling in support of the Unity Map. please advance this map to City Council. I've heard a lot of talk about how the community map is keeping things as they are. It's not affecting as many residents. We need to affect more residents. As someone who grew up in San Jose, you can see how inequitable it is. There are parts where you don't have apartments for miles, and that's not okay. You have a lot of homeowner associations that do take over the city, and it's time to change. We need to give power back to our Black, our Brown, our Asian, our renters, our other low income and working class people. Please support the Unity Map. Thank you.
Krista De La Torre, followed by Maria Rocha.
Good evening. I'm here to support the Unity Map tonight. Backed by a growing coalition of labor, community, and civil rights groups, the Unity Map will keep our communities together and ensure that every single San Jose City resident has a fair say in their representation. Unlike the D4 and community maps, the Unity Map does not dilute the voices of working people or marginalized communities. Compared to the other maps, the Unity Map is by far the best option for working families and renters. For instance, it unites multifamily neighborhoods along the I-85 corridor that have been poorly represented in the past, thereby giving working families and communities who rely on rental housing a chance for better leadership that represents their needs. I also want to point out that the Unity Map is the only map under consideration by the Commission that does not radically suppress the votes of Latino residents in Downtown District 3, District 6, and East San Jose District 5, unlike the Community Map 3.0 and D4, which suppress the voices of those communities. So tonight I ask you to please advance the Unity Map. It is our city's best option. It understands how to keep our communities of interest together. Thank you.
Maria Rocha, followed by Erica Paul.
Hello, good evening, commissioners. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Thank you. Good evening, commissioners. I'm a San Jose Mexican-American resident for over 40 years here in San Jose, California. I would like to express my concern this evening for the penitentiary Berryessa San Jose area. I support the Unity Map, and it doesn't limit me, but other competing neighborhoods. The Unity Map limits how many other neighborhoods are within the Berryessa district, which I definitely support, so that our voices aren't diluted or split among competing neighborhoods. This map keeps our community together as it should be. During the census, our Berryessa community came together to demand all of their neighborhoods to be included into the council district. It would be unfair and not right to split this wonderful community of interest. We definitely need strong representation here in the Berryessa area in the north side of San Jose. I would definitely not want their voices to weaken or split among.
Erica Paul, followed by Bao Deng.
Hello, good evening. Thank you so much for this opportunity. I am actually a resident of District 6. I have lived in San Jose for over 20 years. I am also a member of Local 393 and represent over 2,000 of our members that live in Santa Clara County. I am urging and requesting that you please consider the Unity Map as the only option, as you have known that we have had a history of racist redlining. And with years of experience of living in San Jose, I'm asking you to choose this fair option to have a fresh breath of community and to override this past racism and to provide equity in our communities. Thank you.
Bao Deng, followed by Marnie Kamzen.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm strongly supporting community map and oppose Unity Map. I think Unity Map is creating racist and not fair. Thank you.
Marnie Kamzen, followed by Keith Young.
Good evening. I strongly support the community map and urge you to move it forward. Importantly, every district in this map retains the same ethnic majority that it previously had. That is not the case with the Unity Map, which has decreased the ethnicity of whites in D6 by over 7%. Isn't that true voter suppression? The Unity Map also makes drastic changes to the ethnic populations of D9 and 10, constituting packing. Many people say that the Unity Map keeps neighborhoods together. The community map does a better job doing that. Your choices right now are between your map, which follows the redistricting guidelines of compactness, contiguity, and communities of interest, the community map, which follows the same guidelines, and the unity map, which remains a politically motivated effort. Please support the community map and move it forward to be considered by the City Council. Thank you, and thank you for all the work you are doing.
Keith Young, followed by Deborah Spencer.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. Thank you for all your work. And I know that everybody will not be happy with the ultimate result, but I strongly support the community map. Tim Clausen, our president of Venn, stated it much more clearly than me. And redistricting, I don't think, can solve all the issues of redlining that have existed in the past and shall proceed into the future. The community map will just address what the entire redistricting was set to do, which was balance the populations. Thank you.
Deborah Spencer, followed by Jeffrey Buchanan.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I support the community map. I've lived in San Jose for over 20 years in District 3 and recently have moved to District 8. I've seen neighborhood communities work in unison on mutual neighborhood issues for years. We know the issues. We've worked them together to support the best quality of life for everyone. We've also been a diverse community, mixed housing, mixed income families, seniors, and at-risk housing. Community associations have always been inclusive and reflective and a voice for the City Council. I'm concerned of the current trend of outside activist groups who have no investment in our lives and families other than to change it based on their ideology view of how San Jose should be rather than what's best for our families. The unity map purposely divides and splits our communities. To dissolve our voice with the City Council, I believe the unity map should not be even considered or sent to Council for recommendations. And my thanks for you handling this tonight. Thank you.
Jeffrey Buchanan, followed by Loopy.
Yeah, first, I'd just like to say thank you to all the commissioners for your patient consideration of each of these maps before you and their different approaches. But speaking as a trustee of the Luther Burbank School District, my community of interest is the students, working families of color, and renters in Burbank within District 6. I've heard some discouraging comments about keeping things the same, dismissing historical issues, and I just want to draw attention to the subtle ways the community map and D4s continue to reinforce historical inequity. Burbank was a red line community in D6, and as a result, it's largely Latinx renters who live there today who aren't represented well by District 6. Yet when you look at the community map in D4, they're essentially looking at, and you look at the overlay of the 1936 redlining maps, we're extending D6 deeper into places where Black, Asian, and Latinx renters were excluded from owning homes, and we're moving out of District 6 yellow areas from those maps, which were declining neighborhoods, but which meant that the government did not give financing, and today it's largely Black, Asian, and Latinx renters. So there is...
Loopy, followed by Stephanie.
Hola. Español?
Yes, we have an interpreter. Those people on the commission who wish to hear the interpretation just need to switch over to, I think they're on the Spanish channel tonight. And Loopy will get 2 minutes to speak. I'll run the 1 minute timer twice. So Loopy, go ahead. You are being interpreted. I would ask that you pause for a second to allow him to translate you back. Go ahead now.
Hola, me llamo Lupe y vivo en Abuelo y la calle Pájaro. He vivido aquí por 30 años y estoy aquí. Nunca hace nada por esta área. Nuestra comunidad está en este mapa. No nos hace justicia. Esto es pura política para meter a candidatos y a ciertas áreas y se olvidan de nuestra gente siempre. Eso no es justo. Algo que realmente ayuda a nuestra comunidad no es este mapa de la unidad. Este mapa es pura política y divide a nuestra comunidad aquí en Abuelo. Gracias.
Okay, Stephanie, followed by Wade. Stephanie? You unmuted there for a second, then you remuted.
Unmuted. There we go.
There you
Good
go.
evening, commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, come on.
Hello?
Good evening, commissioners. Can you hear me?
Yes. Can you hear
Oh,
us?
yes. I'm sorry. Thank you. The unity map to me is dividing our neighborhood. I live in the Venn Dome. I live a block from light rail that takes me straight to downtown. I also walk to downtown. We're a block away from the urban village, the North First Street urban village, which on the unity map appears to be divided into two, as well as up by Berryessa. It appears that the urban villages up there are being divided into two districts. It doesn't quite make sense. I don't understand why we're being ejected to the other side of the highway and the river. We don't have, a lot of common interests with those on the other side of the river and the highway. We work very closely with Japantown, as Tim Clausen and others have mentioned, and Tina Morrill. I can't support the unity map. I want to, like Tim said, I really wanted to support this, but I cannot. So please do not consider it. Thank you.
Wade, followed by Sherry.
Hello, I'm been in San Jose for 60 years, born in District 2, raised in District 2, 7, 6, 4, and now I currently live in District 3. I've watched all the special interests and developers affect San Jose's development since the 60s. It's always been disappointing to me watching the power of the special interests. And I see this happening again with the unity map. The community map, on the other hand, I know has been developed from the ground up, street level, street by street, to make sense for each little pocket community, where the unity map has not morphed through this whole process. It looks to me like a electoral gerrymandered map from Texas. When I see the little neighborhoods brought into other areas and the districts and the way things are cut out and sliced and diced, it seems like just by a glance, it's obviously not a grass level map.
Sherry, followed by Nat Doan.
Good evening. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak. So I support the community map. I actually know the people that personally have been developing that map, and I know where they come from. I know what motivates them. They're not politically motivated. They're just motivated to help out with this process because we have a democratic process. I think if people are interested in trying to make lives better, let's look at how we control who gets to go to what schools. Because when we educate, that is the big changer. I teach engineering at Yerba Buena, and I love the kids I teach, and I want to be able to teach anyone that wants to come and learn from me. So if you want a place to go and try to make things better and make big changes, work on that one, and I'll be right next to you. But I support the community map. Thank you.
Nat Doan, followed by Steve Cohen.
Go ahead. Hi, my name is Nat. I am a Vietnamese American. I feel that the Asian Law Alliance and the Labor Union Unity Map does not represent me. The Unity Map is trying to divide our community, and it's not the San Jose that I wanted. I do not support D4 or Unity Map. I want to represent with the community map because it's fair and it follows the redistrict guideline. The community map should be recommended to the city council. Thank you.
Steve Cohen, followed by, I have another Hector Moreno. The spelling is slightly different, so I'm going to go ahead and call. I just want to let people know you are only allowed to speak one time. If this is the same Hector Moreno that already spoke, put your hand down. If it's not, keep your hand up and we will go to you. Steve Cohen, go ahead. Thank you for your patience.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Great. I am a 30-plus year resident of San Jose. I own 4 properties in D3, actually 5, one in the downtown core and another one by Japantown. I totally support the Unity map. I was so excited when I saw it. It's time for a change, and it's time to be realistic to who lives here. You know, I'm your standard white guy, and I see so little representation for the Vietnamese community, for the Asian community, and it's got to stop, because if we don't change with the times and the people that live here, we're going to have the problems that a lot of other cities have. We're very fortunate that we're a peaceful city, and I want to keep it that way. And I think the Unity map is absolutely awesome. Thank you very much.
Hector Moreno, followed by Andre Quintero.
All right, can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, cool, ready. Hi, my name is Hector Moreno. I am born and raised in East San Jose and still live in East San Jose. I want East San Jose to be kept together, so I'm supporting the Unity map. Your plans to break up East San Jose are not okay. Our community needs to stay together so that we can have a voice at City Hall that understands our needs. It's no surprise when you look at who is behind the so-called community map. We decided to do some digging, and here's what we found out. One of the plan's authors is a major Republican donor who has contributed $1,000 to President Trump and a host of other conservative causes and candidates. As a landlord and realtor, they've also advocated through emails and testimonies opposing basic protections for renters, such as just cause evictions and rent control. The other author and spokesperson for the plan has worked for Republican and conservative campaigns, including Councilmember Lan Diep, serving as his campaign treasurer, as well as other conservative city council candidates. Political parties, elected officials, and their staff should not play roles in drawing our redistricting lines. Voters should always choose their elected officials, not the other way around. In closing, I support the Unity plan, the Unity map, because East San Jose should stay together to keep our voice.
Andreas Quintero, followed by Jose Villarreal.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So first of all, thank you very much to all the commissioners. You are doing a thankless job. They put in a tremendous number of hours, amount of hours, and so thank you for that. The words that you've been hearing, this dog whistle about we're real community members. Others, those type of tactics have been used for years and years and years. Same type of stories that were said about civil rights activists in the South by the good old boys. So we're real Americans. Those folks, those are some other people, and usually it's targeted towards, you know, people of color or minority folks. And so I would ask you to really factor that in, that these folks that are calling in, they're claiming we're real community members. Yeah, they're real community members that are handing over thousands, tens of thousands of dollars to Donald Trump. They serve as treasurers to conservative former council members, and they're active, pushing their own agenda. So they're hiding behind the fact that they're supposedly that they're real community members, as opposed.
Jose Villarreal, followed by Elizabeth Matson.
Good evening, commissioners, and thank you for all the hard work you've done throughout this process. My name is José Villarreal, and I am the vice chair of the Parks and Recreation Commission here in San Jose, so I can understand the difficult task that you have ahead of you. I've been a resident of San Jose for 33 years, and I'm currently a resident of District 4. And I keep hearing this word special interest when it comes to the Unity map. The Unity map is supported by community-based organizations and civil rights leaders. Let me say that again, community-based organizations and civil rights leaders. The Unity map is uplifting voices and communities of color that have been shunned for too long. I think the question here tonight is, commissioners, what side of history do you want to be on? I yield my time.
Elizabeth Matson, followed by Jennifer Liu.
Hello, my name is Elizabeth Matson, and I've lived in San Jose for over 30 years and in District 3 for the past 25 years. I strongly support the community map. And with all due respect for those speaking in support of the Unity map, I appreciate your views, but they're addressing a single agenda item and at a single point in time and not taking the whole of the efforts of these communities over the past years into consideration. We've been working together to improve District 3 for the betterment of the whole of San Jose, We need to continue this work and work together to improve all our communities. As an aside, with the recent growth downtown, I'm very pleased to say I've seen growing diversity within our own community over the past few years, and the diversity extends to race, economic status, age, skill sets, and more. Please support the community.
Jennifer Liu, followed by Camilla Martinez. Jennifer Liu.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm an Asian American. I support the community map. It needs to be recommended to the city council. We don't support the unity map and default map. They are very divisive and they are not what we want for San Jose. The community map must be included in the recommendation. Thank you.
Camilla Martinez, followed by Annalise Valdania.
Hi, my name is Camila, a resident of District 7. I am speaking for the youth in favor of the Unity Map, for it would create a fair future for me and my generation. Please move the Unity Map forward, for it is the right thing to do. Thank you.
Annalise, followed by Dan Pan.
Hi, thank you so much for listening to our concerns and for all of your work. I find the Unity Map to be quite a misnomer as it pertains to my Vendome neighborhood. It separates us and alienates us from adjoining neighborhoods. I think the real unity is in the community map. I find that the Unity Map is about demographics and the community map is about democracy. Thank you.
Dan Pan, followed by Mary Bitter.
My name is Dan. Hello? Oh.
Hello.
Oh, so why you didn't restart?
I did when I clicked unmute.
Okay. Oh, my name is Dan. I strongly support the community map, which is put together by the community volunteers. There are no Asia on city council and no Asians on this commission. The community map does a better job for better Asian representation. So please move forward the community map. Thank you so much.
Mary Bitter, followed by Dak Doan.
Hello, my name's Mary Bitter, and I'm from the Thousand Oaks neighborhood in District 9, and I want to express my strong support for the community map, and I would request that you please forward it to the City Council as part of your recommendation. Thank you.
Dak Doan, followed by Mary Helen Doherty. Doc Doan. Dak Doan. There you go.
My name is Dak Doan. I am a Vietnamese American. The Asian law alliance doesn't represent me, and the labor union unity map does not represent me. The unity map is trying to divide our community. That is not San Jose I don't want. I do not support D4 or unity map. And I want to represent the community map because it is fair and it follows the district guideline. The community map should be recommended to the city council. Thank you.
Mary Helen Doherty.
Thank you. I'm a resident of District 3 and live in Nagley Park. And I thank you, commissioners, for your service. You have an opportunity of a lifetime to fight back against voter suppression right here in the city of San Jose. And I'm incredibly concerned that many of the maps under consideration by the Redistricting Commission will suppress the voices of Latinx, Asian, and Black voters. So the revised unity map is the best option to ensure equal voice for every San Jose resident. Please make history by supporting it. Thank you very much.
Van Lee, followed by Raymond Lee.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello, my name is Van Lei, and I'm a longtime resident of East Side and live in D7. I urge Commissioner to recommend the unity map to council because other map reduce the voice of Asian, Black, and Latinx. Right now, we don't even have a voice of Asian as well as Vietnamese at City Hall, even at the redistricting committee. Commissioner already present very clearly that community map will reduce voice of Asian, Black, Latino, Latinx by 2.3%. So unity map is very fair and equity. I urge the commissioner to present that to the city council because I believe that unity map will have more adequate constituents and allow voice of Latinx, Asian, and Black. Thank you for all your hard work.
Raymond Lee, followed by Tamara Hall.
Hello.
Yes.
Hi, good evening, commissioners. This is Raymond. I have been a San Jose resident for 22 years. And I strongly support the community map because it better represents all the communities and the people. And I'm strongly against the unity map and the D4 map because they're unfair and divisive. Please include the community map in the recommendation. Thank you so much.
Tamara Hall, followed by Jen Meyer.
Hello, my name is Tamara Hall. I'm a Black and Mexican resident of District 3 and a special education teacher in District 9 for the last 7 years. I support the unity map. We need to maintain representation for disenfranchised communities. The community map proposed neglects the need for representation of communities of color by increasing the representation of affluent communities. This is not what we need in our community going forward for San Jose. In terms of democratic representation and power, the unity map is intentional and gives that representation to the disenfranchised communities in our city, the Black communities, the Latinx communities, the Asian communities. So please support the unity map. Thank you.
Jen Meyer.
Hi, my name is Jen Meyer. I'm a community organizer with Sacred Heart Community Service and a District 3 voter. And I am here to support the unity map. Due to rising rents and residential displacement, we have lost many of our Latinx families and neighbors. The other maps like the D4 and community map exacerbate the loss of voice of our historic Latinx community in our city. And the unity map is the only map to mitigate this. The other maps appear to be cracking the Latino community in District 3 under the Voting Rights Act. The Unity Act promotes fairness, ensures that ethnic coalitions have an equal vote in their district, and conforms to the Fair Maps Act and the California Voting Rights Act. For example, it empowers the Black community, which has also already been devastated by displacement. Thank you.
Back to the chair.
Thank you, Tony. At this point, I would open up to my fellow commissioners to see if they have any comments on the maps that we have before us, or any recommendations that they would like to make a part of the report and ultimately recommendations to the City Council. Commissioner Berrigan.
Thank you, Chair. So I would like to make a recommendation moving forward, and this would apply to all of the maps moving forward. To make a motion to recommend to keep the Guadalupe, Washington, the Goodyear Mastic, Tamian, Spartan Keys neighborhoods in the same district. So I don't know if we would make a motion to agree on that or somehow strongly recommend to keep these neighborhoods together, as we've definitely heard with public comment. These neighborhoods are some of the older neighborhoods just south of downtown, and they really are the gateway to the core of the city, and neighborhoods like this should definitely stick together so their voice is unified.
Is that a motion, Commissioner?
If I could make a motion, I would like to make that motion. Would you like me to repeat that as an existing motion on the floor?
Sure.
Okay. I'd like to make a motion to recommend that these following neighborhoods stay in the same district: Guadalupe, Washington, Goodyear, Mastic, Tamian, and the Spartan Keys neighborhoods. Currently, these neighborhoods exist in District 3.
Is there a second on the motion?
I'll second for discussion purposes.
Okay. Is there any commissioner that would like to comment on the motion?
Yes.
Oh, Commissioner Sidbury?
Yes, I think what we may want to do before we put a motion on the floor for a second is to see how it will affect the population, and if those areas, which I think the Goodyear Mystic may be in 7, if you look at D4, how's that going to affect 7 and 6?
Yeah, I think at this point in time, since we aren't doing the live map drawing, all we're doing is making recommendations and creating a report for the city council to consider. And my understanding is that could include specific maps, but it can also just include recommendations that we want the city council to consider as they move forward with adoption of a final map ultimately.
Okay, so are you saying that this is going to be a footnote that we're going to submit to the city council without us actually seeing how that population is going to make a difference?
Right.
By moving those back to their districts? Is that what you're saying?
Correct.
Wow.
It would be simply part of a report, part of a recommendation.
That's correct. It's a recommendation. I like how you stated that, Commissioner, like a footnote to these maps to keep these communities together.
I would have the same concern that Commissioner Sidbury just voiced. I don't know how we can vote on that as to making a recommendation when we don't know how that's going to affect the maps that we have before us. And we worked hours on the maps at the last meeting. So I would, to be perfectly honest, personally, I wouldn't feel comfortable even voting on that recommendation.
Well, that's the whole purpose of a second, so you can vote how you feel. If you don't agree, then you vote no. That was the only reason I second the motion, so we could vote on it.
Right, but that's my discussion. I'm saying without seeing how it's going to affect, I agree with Commissioner Sidbury. I don't know how anybody else can, but that's my discussion.
Okay, I understand. And then we ultimately, we will vote on it, but I want to hear from Commissioner Martinez at this point, and then the other one, the other commissioners that have their hands raised. But Commissioner Martinez, go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna just say that the recommendations I heard right now from the commissioner from District 3, that was our entire discussion at the last meeting. And I think if everyone recalls, and the public needs to remember, that we decided after all the discussion last week to not do anything. And I think that's where we are. I think the public has expressed how it feels. We're very clear about the different areas of the city that have issues. And I think we've done as a commission everything we can do to get rid of as many issues as we can. Now, I think we should do, as you described, Chairman Boozle, to be clear about what recommendations we want to give the city council, because the buck is going to stop with them. They're the ones the people elected. And if they're the ones who are responsible to deal with the public's concerns, I think we've done a lot, everyone here, to clarify as much as we possibly can clarify. So I wouldn't propose doing any more map changing today. Thank you.
Commissioner Bruns.
Yeah, thank you to Commissioner Barragan for the recommendation that you're proposing right now. Is there one of the maps that specifically does what you're asking, or do all of them do it, or do none of them do it? If one of them does it, then we can potentially look at, or any of us could look at it and be like, oh, okay, so we see what she's talking about there. Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner. So the best example as of what we can see right now is in the community map. The map that we worked on last week, which is our commissioner's map, puts Goodyear Mastic into District 6. And then we had some, we were having a tough time whether we should put the Deardon area into District 3 or keep it in District 6. So with over this last week, we've had a lot of feedback, letters from the public in regards to keeping the area that I had mentioned with Goodyear Mastic, Washington, Tamian, and Spartan Keys, keeping them in District 3, if not at least advocating for the existing neighborhoods to remain in District 3 as older neighborhoods of the city. So I think the community map best suits the vision that we can currently view as of right now, as of tonight.
All right, thank you. You're welcome.
Commissioner Wright.
Thank you, Chair. While I support the intent of Commissioner Barragan's motion, as we've seen through the countless hours that we've been spending on trying to draw the maps, it's been very difficult to be able to do perhaps what she is seeking to do with trying to maintain nearly equal populations in each district, and then also keeping into account all the other criteria we're trying to keep in mind with the natural boundaries, geography, cohesiveness, and communities of interest in each district. So if we haven't been able to do what she is seeking so far, why should we then recommend something that we have been unsuccessful in doing? Those are my comments. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner DeLevison.
Yeah, I would just make a recommendation, and I think maybe we should table the motion because we could have a litany of specific recommendations, right? But I think the better way to achieve this is to look at what the work we've already done. For example, if you look at the commission's map and the community map, the most recent one, there are small but important differences, right? And one of which is the treatment of Guadalupe, Washington, Tamian. Community map unifies those. The commission's map presents a little different approach. Deardon Station area, the two are distinguishable in material ways. South Willow Glen, Ocala, Las Plumas, Reed Hillview, Dove Hill, all of those areas are treated differently between the two maps, and it presents distinct options for consideration by City Council about, well, if you take this, you have to move things around. And so you've already got it kind of baked in with those specific areas. So I think perhaps the more expeditious and efficient way to do this is to actually discuss the maps we have, vote on them. And then if there are additional recommendations after we determine which maps are going to go forward, we can make those motions and make sure those recommendations make it to council, but it's kind of redundant, I think, if we're going to pass these maps through regardless.
I agree.
Thank you, Commissioner. So I think at this point, I mean, we can vote on the
Excuse me, Chairman Buzzo. Excuse me, Chairman Buzzo. I
Oh,
do have
yes.
a comment, and I have had my hand raised.
Oh, I
throughout
don't
the
see it. I'm
time.
sorry, Commissioner
I
Cardenas.
just want to make sure that you can see me because I also had issues at the last meeting with
Oh.
raising my hand and having to interrupt because.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I can
wasn't
see you,
called
but
on,
yeah, I don't see
so-
the hand. I'm sorry.
Okay, so I may have to do some kind of movement here.
Yeah,
to
yeah,
get
just wave your hand
attention.
and
Thank you.
I'll see that.
I did just want to make a couple of comments with respect to Commissioner Bergen's recommendation. I think I want to echo some of the concerns raised by the other commissioners that we have tried to work through those recommendations through our commissioner map. And the discussion around that has been pretty lengthy at each of our sessions for the past 4 to 6 weeks or so. I think that in addition to the community map, it's important to note that the unity map does keep these communities of interest together. And so I think if that is something that is important to this commission and this group, that we remember that both the community map and the unity map bring those communities of interest into District 3. Thank you.
Yeah, all of your points are well taken. I just want to make a comment before we move forward here, and that is that my understanding is that the city council can adopt any map they want. They can take one map that we submit or 3 maps, and they can create 40 maps, and pick one of those. And so, I think that, the intent of the motion and it's something that I would certainly agree with is that these 4 neighborhoods are some of the oldest community interests in the entire city of San Jose. They were part of the original city that was incorporated in 1850. So when we talk about communities of interest and keeping neighborhoods intact, I mean, these are about as old as they get. And so I just want to make sure that doesn't that message comes through loud and clear for the city council when they are considering the maps that we ultimately move forward to them, whether it's 1, 2, or 3 maps. So with all that said, I actually think I agree with Commissioner Levinson that perhaps it would be better to table the motion and then just go straight to the maps. And so if that's okay with you, Commissioner Berrigan, we'll table the motion after we've had an opportunity to discuss the maps. As Commissioner Bruins brought up, he also stated that, or he, as he inquired about, there are maps that actually do keep those communities whole. So maybe we should just move straight to a discussion of the various maps and whether or not there is a recommendation that we can make that would provide the council with some clarity as to what we are recommending regarding those specific maps that we are considering at the moment.
I would agree to table the motion for now to further discuss. Thank you.
Thank you. So then why don't we start with,
okay,
just go in order as it's on the agenda. And I think the first one is commission map. I know folks were still referring to it as D4, but it's the commission map D4. Does anyone have any specific comments or anything they want to say about that map at this point in time? I'll go to Commissioner Sidbury.
Not at this particular time. I think it's a map that we may want to consider submitting to the city council for review.
Okay.
Thank you.
Commissioner Levison?
Yeah, I just have a quick question. In terms of procedure, how many votes are needed to advance a proposed map? Is it a simple majority of the commission? Is it a super majority?
My understanding it's a simple majority.
Okay. And is everybody, are all the commissioners present tonight? I haven't actually checked.
Yes, they are.
Yes.
Okay, great. Okay. I would certainly make a motion once the discussion is wrapped up that we move forward the commission's map as one of the alternatives for city council to consider and review.
And I would second that motion.
And do you want to take a vote on that now, Commissioner DeLevison, or do you want to?
I mean, I would be a proponent of voting as soon as the commission is done. If there's no further comments, I think we're ready to just vote. Maybe we'll just knock these things off one by one, and that's probably the best bet, in my opinion.
Okay. Does anybody have any comments on the motion on the floor, which is to recommend that the commission map D4 be recommended to the city council for consideration? Commissioner Martinez.
Yeah, I would just ask Mr. Chairman to review for us the maps that are before us after all is said and done, again, so the public is clear about what's on the table at this point. Then that way we can know where we're headed here.
Okay, so we have three maps before us: the commission map D4, which is the map that you folks have worked on all these months, and I've worked on for 3 weeks. So, and then you have the community map, which is a map that's been presented over a number of weeks as well, from mostly neighborhood association leaders and around the city. And then you have the unity map, which has also been presented a number of times over the last several weeks. And so those are the three maps: commission map, community map, and the unity map.
Do we want Jacob from Redistricting Partners to bring those three maps up?
And I think we should.
Sure.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Jacob, I think you can hear me. If you can open up those maps.
Certainly.
Maps.
Yeah, of course.
After calling a lot of public speakers, I think my mouth quits.
Yes, that will absolutely happen to the best of us. So I am bringing the community map into my program still currently. We have some standard visualizations that we use for each one that I will share. Allow me one moment here. There we are.
Jacob, can you bring up the commission map first?
Certainly. Here we have the commission map with underlying neighborhoods.
And it was District 6 or 7. Map there.
If there is a specific detail you would like to see on it, or if you need me to do a closer view at street level, I can switch to another view that can show that for you as well.
Commissioner Martinez, did you have a question or comment? I see your hand up. No, I'll go to oh no, okay.
Take it down.
I'll go to Commissioner Sidbury.
Yes, I was wondering if the map could be made just a little bit larger, and do we have the map that actually showed the streets for the community to see exactly what we're looking at?
I'll be happy to switch to a version that I can
just
zoom in on to show you streets. It looks different. It is a different version of the map.
No, we want
that version does not include any of the statistics on it. So it's a question of which details you wish to see. But I'm happy to switch to that version.
Yeah, my concern was this excuse me, towards how the community will be able to tell what they're looking at and what streets they are and things of that nature.
Certainly.
I guess, you know, that was my concern.
Certainly. Switching over, this is a version that we can zoom in on and look at. It, you notice it does look a little different. It does not include your neighborhood lines, but we can definitely zoom in and look at individual streets on that one if you wish. Or if you have a specific address you want to look at, we can look at that as well.
Then down the area. Keep the four pieces together.
Is there something specific, Commissioner Sidbury, that you would like Jacob to point us to here?
Jacob, if you
Oh,
could,
yeah, you're on
there-
mute. Commissioner, you're on mute.
Sorry. I'm sorry. I wanted to go back and see exactly where the Goodyear Mystic area was, and also the La Palmas area. Okay.
So this is the Goodyear Mastic, Spartan Keys, Tamian, and oh, please forgive me, I've forgotten the fourth neighborhood name, but I know that it's this location right here.
See,
Okay.
Yeah, Washington,
thank you.
Washington, Guadalupe.
Thank you. Yeah, exactly.
then,
It's so you can't really see it here because these layers are only capable of showing you one thing at a time to make it easy to zoom in and see that. But Spartan Keys is roughly this area that I'm hovering over.
See it over there.
And then you have in D4, you have Tamian here. You have Goodyear Mastic is this
square
sort of extension here. And then this extension here is Washington V.
Mm-hmm. Well, I wouldn't want us to go back and revisit this entire map. I just wanted to, I thought maybe you had a little bit more, I was just more concerned about making sure that the community would be able to see exactly what we're talking about as we make our comments. So
I believe that these maps, both versions, are hosted on your redistricting site. Staff can confirm that or correct me, but we did send over versions of this zoomable version as well as the version that is that includes statistics and numbers.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Fisher.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
Do any other commissioners have questions or comments about the commission map, the commission D4 map? Commissioner Cardenas?
Thank you. Can you remind us, Jacob, again, what the deviation is for the D4?
Certainly. So the draft plan D4, the commission map, has a total deviation, and we get that by comparing the largest over deviation to the lowest under deviation of 8.5%. So that is 6.1% over ideal population for District 4 in this plan, and 2.4% under ideal for District 6 in this plan. And the sequencing is also subject to your definitions and then council's definitions later. So those numbers may change, the district number may change, but the population deviation is relative to the total. So that will be what this plan has moving forward.
Commissioner Berrigan?
Thank you, Chair. So as we look at the map, our commission map here, D4 map, will we be making edits to this map tonight, or are we just going to freeze where it's at?
Yeah, my understanding is that we will not be making edits to this map.
That's all. That's my question.
So it's an as is, you know, are we going to recommend this map to the city council for review? And then, you know, and then we'll go to the next map and do the same thing. But then beyond that, I mean, like my understanding is that based on what is in the city charter, we can also make recommendations beyond the maps for the city council to consider as they move forward. That's how I read the city charter.
Thank you, Chair. I would still like to have my recommendation. Like we said, we tabled the motion, but my recommendation for those neighborhoods still stands for this commission map.
Cool. Okay, thank you, Commissioner. Do we have any more comments or questions on the commission map? So I believe we do have a motion before us, and we had a second as well, correct? So perhaps we should vote on whether or not this map should be forwarded to the city council for their consideration.
This is Commissioner Berrigan. I would like to make a motion to recommend the commission map, also known as the D4 map, to move forward to the city council with the recommendations to keep the Guadalupe, Washington, Goodyear, Mastic, Tamian, and the Spartan Keys neighborhoods in the same district.
So what you're asking for then, Commissioner Berrigan, is what would be called a friendly amendment, because the motion had already been made to adopt the map before us. So the motion had already been made and seconded. And also, I think that the recommendation that you would like to see move forward to council, that is something that can be made even after we've discussed the maps. That's how I see it. And that's how I read the charter.
Okay, so then continue with the motion as it's now amended.
We can continue to table that.
Okay. I'd like to do that.
So we'll vote on Commissioner Ditlevison's motion.
Are we ready for the vote?
Yes.
Okay.
I just wanted to confirm, did we get a second to that motion? I didn't record one.
I thought we did, yeah.
Yes, Commissioner Wright, I did.
Yes.
Thank you. I'll take the vote now. Jonathan Bruns,
Aye.
Linka Wright,
Aye.
BJ Fadum,
Aye.
Sylvia Alvarez,
Aye.
Freddie Sidbury,
Aye.
Andrew Dillifson,
Aye.
Ramon Martinez,
Aye.
and Adina Cardenas,
Yes.
Gloria Collins,
Yes.
Dee Berrigan,
Yes.
Fred Buzo.
Yes.
That motion passes. Thank you.
So then now let's move on to the community map. Community map 5.0, which was the one that was presented on today and the one that is attached to the current agenda. So Jacob, if you could bring that one up, that'd be great.
Gladly. One moment, please. And community map. And to switch tabs there briefly. Pardon my delay. Here we have a view of the community map. And per prior question, if we look at the total deviation of the community map, we see that its largest district is 4.1% over ideal, and its smallest district is 3.2% under ideal, which gives it a total deviation of 7.3%.
Commissioner, sorry, Commissioner Wright.
I had noticed in the community map with this version 5.0 that for the area of District 10, that it had changed from what was presented to us last week. And it was not addressed why there were changes in the southern boundary from what is the current boundary, because it's now part of District 2. So I'm not sure if anyone else had heard any reasoning behind why that had changed from last week's map to this map.
This is Tony. I just allowed Cher to talk. She's
Thank you very much. Yeah, the reason that we changed that is because we thought it might be illegal the way that it was. Because if you'll remember, District 2 and District 8 had an area that wasn't contiguous, and District 4 and 5 had Alum Rock that wasn't contiguous. And Chris said that it needed to be changed because it was no longer legal. So we looked at 2 and 10. 2 goes down, and then there's no contiguity over to that part of 10. There's 99 people down there, population. So we moved it to make sure it wasn't illegal. And then I forgot to mention, and we figured that somebody, the counselor, somebody else could make sure. I didn't want to put something that seemed to be illegal based on what Chris had said. And the population is 99 people. And I forgot to mention it during the speech. So that's why we did it. We thought it might not be illegal, be legal because of what Chris said about the other areas in 2 and 10 and 4 and 5 that you can't do that.
Thank you, Cheryl, for that explanation.
Thank you.
Commissioner Sidbury. Oh.
I have no comments on it except for it should be in this group of maps to be presented or suggested to go towards the city council.
Commissioner Fadum, I see your hand. Okay, this wasn't sure. So your hand icon is not working, or?
I think it's blending in with my background, unfortunately.
Oh yeah, that's right.
And I can't move it to another side.
That's fine.
I have just a brief question, and it's really Commissioner Barragos. My understanding is the communities, with regard to the recommendation you want to make in the community map, are all of those together in one district? Are those together in the community map? And my understanding was, I think you said they were, but do you know for sure? It is the community map showing those?
Yes, Commissioner. It does reflect the group of neighborhoods that I recommended in the first map. They are together in the community map.
Okay, thank you. That's what I thought.
Commissioner Martinez.
I think at this early point of conversation, I think we need to be careful about, again, each district has a concern, and I think we need to sit, like, for example, if Commissioner Barragan, if what you want is in one of the maps, then vote for the map. But I don't think we should send the city council, here are maps, but actually this is another idea. No, our job is to do as best we can to clarify what's on the table. Then they need to deal with it. But to send them, here are 3 maps. One of them has what I want, but just in case, blah, blah, here's my case. Everybody has a concern. You know, we've listened to the public and they need to know we're listening. And the public isn't having giant discussions about the commission map. They're talking about the community map and the unity map. So I think we really need to get clear in my mind that we just can't push 3, 4, 3, even 3 maps forward. To me, it doesn't seem like we're doing the best we can. We need to bite the bullet on our end. And there's a couple of maps that then the council, because the council can do anything they want. So I need to tell them, you know, recommendations. All they're going to get is my wish list from 5. Valley Palms wants this. Vendome wants that. All you're doing is making a list of what we already know. We know what the council needs to hear. It's the testimony that the people passionately talked about already. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Again, I'm just going to say it, that the charter does not say that this commission shall recommend a map or even maps to the city council. What the charter says is that this commission shall issue a report and make recommendations to the city council. So I think that we have one shot at doing this. And so I do think if there are concerns or comments or recommendations you want to make to any of the maps, that you want the council to consider as a formal part of this record that you are creating, I think it's okay to do that. But it doesn't mean though you have to vote, you know, for any recommendation or whatnot that folks are wanting. I just think it's appropriate to do, given how the charter is written. Commissioner Cardenas.
Thank you, Chair. I agree with what Commissioner Martinez is saying. I think that our role here as this advisory commission is to do what we can to issue a recommendation that the city council can approve, and really not to generate more work for the council. So I do think that we are, I'm concerned that we might be doing ourselves a disservice by just kind of punting the decision to the city council. And I think it might be a good idea if we can tonight to filter out some of these maps to the extent that we can agree to that. And my other comment with respect to the community map is that I was concerned, and I still am concerned, about the data that was presented last week and then again today about just the cracking of Latino voters in District 3. I think it was the Unity Map presenter who presented a chart this week and last week about showing that many of the districts that were moved out of District 3 into other districts were primarily Latino districts. And my understanding is the Voting Rights Act prohibits voter dilution in redistricting. So that would be one of my concerns with recommending this forward. And I believe there was also something I read in NBC Bay Area News about various Latino organizations expressing similar concerns. So I wanted to be sure to raise that tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner. Jacob, I saw that you had your hand up.
Thank you, Chair. I wanted to take a moment and ask if it would be beneficial to you if I showed you the 3 plans for consideration overlaid with the 4 neighborhoods that were brought up by Commissioner Berrigan. If that would be beneficial, I have that ready to show you if you would like.
Okay, I mean, I think we could probably just move forward without
Okay.
seeing that. I think at this point in time, because I think folks are pretty familiar with the issue at this point. But thank you, though.
Just wanted to make sure I
thank you.
placed that offer.
Thank you for the offer. Appreciate it. So I just want to make a comment on this map. I think that, you know, I look, there's things I don't like about every map. And again, I know I haven't been on the commission as long as all of you, but there are things I don't like about all of the maps, and there are things I like about all of the maps. This particular map, I like the fact that it keeps those 4 neighborhoods intact and it keeps them in one district. I just think it's so important to keep those 4 neighborhoods intact, because as I said previously, they were part of the original city since 1850. You're talking about heavily Latino districts or neighborhoods. You're talking about a neighborhood business district that, and I'm talking about Willow Street, which is a small but very vibrant business corridor that on the commission's map would actually be split in 2. And this is a neighborhood that is undergoing, and this is not just speculation or just my opinion, but this is a neighborhood that is undergoing gentrification and just dealing with displacement issues currently. And that is something that has been recognized by the Department of Planning as recently as last week when they issued a staff report, because currently that street, Willow Street, is the subject of a potential rezoning as part of the general plan update that will be decided on November 30th by the city council. So these are real issues that this community is facing in real time. So it's not speculative like some of the things I've heard from some of the other from some comments and emails about the future of Deer Dawn and what's going to be there, and how we want we're going to get parks money and what's going to happen at Deer Dawn. We really don't know, quite frankly, but we do know that communities like Washington, Guadalupe, and Goodyear, Mastic, and Spartan Keys and Tamian are dealing with gentrification displacement issues now. So I do like the fact that the community map keeps these neighborhoods together. Like I said, there's things I don't like about the community map, I think, one thing is that it kind of puts Rosemary Gardens on the other side of the airport. So on a map, it actually looks, oh, look, it's contiguous, right? It's all together, but it's the airport. It's like the airport, and then Rosemary Gardens is just kind of out there. It's going to be an island essentially. And so I don't like that, but you can't satisfy everybody. I get it. And so, but I just wanted to make sure that folks knew that where I was coming from in terms of what I did like about the community map. I do appreciate the work that they've done for sure on this map. I know some of the folks that did the work and really know how passionate they are about their neighborhoods. And so, yeah, just, I don't know if there was somewhat of a motion made, but it wasn't official. I don't
Not
know if
yet.
anybody-
I would like to make a motion to move the community map forward to the city council.
I would like to second.
Commissioner Bruns, did you have a comment?
Yeah, real quick. And Chair, you can tell me to be quiet if I'm asking for too much too late. It kind of seems like if our job here is to submit a report to the council, it seems decent enough to me to say these are the 3 maps that we got. This first one that we got is the one that we've all made, and speculation is that we all say this is the one we like the most. That one's just a speculation, but we have these 2 other maps, a community map that has a lot of support and the unity map that has a lot of support as ones that they ought to be taken a look at as well. I fully understand Commissioner Martinez's idea of biting the bullet there, and like this is the one that we're putting forward, and it's a solid idea, and I agree with him a lot on that. But if we're if we're giving a report, we ought to have the council see the 3 ones that we have diluted down to now. And I know we already took a vote on the one that we've made, so I don't know how feasible it is to say we might change that vote to say we like this one the most, this one the second most, this one the third most as a council. Again, if I'm asking too much or if I'm holding us up, then let me know that.
City Attorney has his hand up, so I'll let him go first.
Thank you. I just wanted to comment on 2 things. One, the question that was raised about contiguity with respect to the that sliver, the 2 slivers, so to speak, of land in District 10. One of the criteria under the charter is to consider contiguity, and as well as under the Fair Maps Act. To the extent that population does live in that area, then the commission should strive to keep those individuals with the nearest district and not have any islands or pockets. If there's no population there, then it's not as significant of an issue because under the charter it is permissive, but when coupled with the Fair Maps Act, the goal is to keep districts as contiguous and as compact as practicable. And then I also just want to reiterate, the chair's understanding of the charter requirements are correct. It is just a report and recommendations that's provided to the council. In 2011, that took a form. I believe a map was advanced, but also recommendations were as well. This body is advisory, and so what moves forward to council is really what everybody here can agree upon. It could be a map, it could be recommendations. If the commission does nothing, the council is still obligated to move forward. But the charter does require that the council duly consider this body's report and recommendation. So I just wanted to provide that guidance. And if there's any questions, I'm happy to answer them.
Thank you, Mark. Commissioner Collins?
Yes, thank you. I just want to make a general comment that the commissioners might be feeling, and it would be very difficult for me to try to choose one of these 3 maps and say, well, here are the 3 maps we were going to pass along, and I'm going to pick one of the 3 as the one that I think the council might consider the most, because we've heard very passionate testimony from residents who support the community map, very passionate testimony from residents who support the unity map. And these are 2, in a lot of ways, very different maps. And I, as an individual, would feel I don't know how I could recommend one over the other, because I think that the residents of San Jose need to be heard. So I think the council would need to hear that. And it'd be very hard for me to push, to say, this is my favorite one. So that's why I like sending more than one map along. And I just wanted to make that comment. And I think maybe other commissioners may be feeling the same way.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Wright?
Great, thank you. And I did appreciate the clarification from the city attorney's office on the contiguous issue. I did want to mention with the commission map that this was based on, this is something, as you know, commissioners, we've all been working on together and with redistricting partners based on the testimony that we've been receiving from the community, the public comments. And I would venture to say that it is reflective of what we've been hearing with the community map. Of course, as our chair has pointed out, there are differences and things. I also don't like everything with it, with any of the maps, but it reflects aspects of the unity map as well as the community map. And as an advisory commission, we're here to advise the council as to what we think are the best recommendations moving forward with this redistricting process. We've sat through all the public hearings, we've heard the hours of public comments, and for us just to pass the buck and say, well, here they are, you decide. We really need to give the council more guidance, and I would feel comfortable moving forward with perhaps just one map, maybe two maps, but also saying, here are the other ones we considered, and adding those recommendations in the report. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. I know that Commissioner Tatum had a motion or made a motion. Did anyone second? I didn't hear that. Do you want to repeat the motion, Commissioner?
Sure. I would move that we advance the community map to be presented to the city council.
And I second that motion.
I just said I'm thinking we should just call this for a vote as well now, and then move on to the next one.
I'll take the vote. Jonathan Bruns,
God, I always have to be first. Aye.
Linka Wright,
I'm with you, Jonathan, as far as I'm going to say no, but more out of principle, that I really feel that it should be one map being brought forward with recommendations.
DJ Fatum,
Yes.
Sylvia Alvarez,
Yes.
Freddie Sidbury,
Yes.
Andrew Dillipson,
Aye.
Ramon Martinez,
Yes.
and Adina Cardenas,
No.
Gloria Collins,
Yes.
Dee Berrigan,
Yes.
Fred Buzo.
Yes.
That motion passes. Thank you.
So now let's move on to the unity map. And Jacob, if you could bring that one up.
Gladly. Here we have the unity map. And we see that its total deviation spans from 3.9% above to 3.5% below, for a total deviation of 7.4%.
Are there any?
Oh, please, sorry.
Oh, no, go ahead, Jacob. I'm sorry.
I was just going to bring up the other view in case
Oh.
someone wanted to zoom in closer.
I saw a hand somewhere there. Oh, there you are. Oh, yeah. Now I can see it, actually. Commissioner Fatum.
Thank you. Here's the issue I have with the unity map. I went back to our very first meetings and took a look at what we were taught and what we were told to do. And what I saw was, the equal population within the 10%, contiguity. I'm reading off my notes again from the webinar we got. Communities of interest, the local government lines, keeping the districts compact, the contiguity, and then, not drawing districts to advantage of a political power and the requirements. And we talked a little bit, and I think I mentioned this a couple of meetings ago, the communities of interest these are decades old of these communities, and as Commissioner Buzo pointed out, even longer that they've been cohesive. All I've heard as far as everything on the unity map is based upon race, which we were told it cannot be the sole factor. I haven't heard as much discussions of community of interest. I haven't heard there's some aspects that are not contiguous and doesn't keep several of the communities of interest together. For example, we got public letters that were in this agenda about the Corey district, that they want to remain in District 6, and it puts them in District 1 in the unity map. So it almost ignores a lot of the communities of interest. So I have a real problem with with recommending that the unity map go forward, because I'm not hearing it's based on the proper factors that we've been taught and that we were told to do from the very beginning of this commission.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Martinez?
Yeah, I wanted to say that as a representative of District 5, I strongly suggest the unity map. And I want to point out that the comment that the commissioner just made about that, the unity map is about race. It's not about race. What we're having difficulty in what we're doing is that certain ethnic groups have characteristics that are very different from others. And that's the part we don't have the words to express it. But bottom line being, the District 5 people, the unity map talks about needs in many districts. And the other maps that we've heard are talking about me, my district. And the unity map's talking about many districts. That's because, for example, generally speaking, the Latinos, who are one of the bigger of the ethnic groups, we're not homeowners. We don't own homes. We're renters. And renting is needed everywhere. You know, with this commission isn't dealing with the gorilla in the, I mean, the gorilla in the room is Google and the new housing pressures that are going to push nothing but elite housing for people and that are nothing like the actual people who live here, people who have to go to work every day. They can't stay home and zoom into the office. That's who the unity map is representing. And it's not, and it just, it happens to be that African Americans, Latinos, and some of the Asian groups are traditionally the ones who have been left out. And so the unity map is addressing that matter. And lastly, and there's no name calling here. I think everyone who has spoken their voice, there's no good guys and bad guys. We're all trying to fit the change that is the future. And it's tough. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner, before I go to Commissioner Alvarez, Commissioner Cardenas, did you have your hand up? I didn't see it. Oh, you do. Okay, Commissioner Cardenas.
Yes, thank you, Chair. I wanted to just highlight a couple of points. The Fair Maps Act, the first requirement under the Fair Maps Act is that we try to create districts that are substantially equal in population. And then the Fair Maps Act actually lists the order of priority of factors and characteristics that we are to consider. And so my interpretation and reading of the Fair Maps Act is that all of these factors, geographical compactness, contiguity, respecting communities of interest are all important, but the statute gives us the order of priority. And I think it's important to note that the unity map is the one with the least amount of population deviation from the districts, and that based on the community of interest testimony that we've received throughout this process, the unity map, I think, does a pretty significant job in keeping the communities of interest together. We spent many, many weeks working with our commission map to try to keep certain COIs together in District 3. And this unity map keeps Barton Keys, Goodyear Mastic, Guadalupe, Washington, San Jose State, Nagley Park, and even on the east side, Little Portugal in District 3. It keeps the airport in District 3. And the Unity map also addresses the Corey neighborhood, and actually the updated Unity map does put them in District 6. We've also heard public testimony from District 9 wanting to keep Thousand Oaks, Pinehurst, Erickson, Tanglewood together. This Unity map does that. We also heard community interest testimony from the VEP neighborhood wishing to be in District 2. This does that as well, and it keeps Penitencia, Berryessa in District 4. And I do have concerns about what communities of interest the commission gives greater importance. It seems that these neighborhoods that have been established and around for a very long time are given a lot of weight, and I understand that. And I think that it's important to also recognize that working class families, don't have the time and to unite and create their own neighborhood association or have the time to even participate in those things. And I think that we've heard public testimony from various members of different districts expressing their support for the Unity map because their community interest as a renter or as a working person. And so I think that those should also be given its fair share of consideration. And so yeah, I would just urge Commissioner Fadem to revisit the Fair Maps Act, because I think that there is some ability for us to push this map forward without any concerns that it doesn't comply with our requirements. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Alvarez?
Yes. I do not agree with the Unity map myself. Looking at the fact that we have 5 Latinos on the city council, to me is total irony. I don't like the map and the fact that District 3 cuts around and almost looks like it's gerrymandered around District 6. I don't like that District 6 is sticking itself behind District 9. To me, that's gerrymandering. So for myself, I could not support the Unity map. I think it's going to have legal problems if it goes forward. And as I am a Latina and I have been an elected official, I think the fact that we have the ability to represent our people, and I know that I have always supported, I've always gone out to get one of the first to get out the vote and sign up people to vote. And we have actually done that by having 5 council members that are Latinos in districts 1, 2, 3, 5, 7, and 8. So the arguments that we have heard, that I heard from the public, and I totally heard them, is that we have made significant inroads in representing the Latino community. I understand that the Asian community has not been represented in the last few years, but they have the potential. And they definitely have the voting power, because in District 8, they are the voting power. They are the ones that vote absentee ballots. So they have the capacity, is that they have to bring forth candidates that they will want to push forward on the city council. And those are my feelings, and I stand against the Unity map.
Commissioner Wright?
The Unity map has a great name. Kudos for the marketing effort behind it. However, it is disunifying the southern portion of the city, in which you're seeing communities of interest that identify with the current boundaries of District 10. The northern portion are being moved into District 2. We've heard public testimony from those, including someone who resides in a mobile home community near Almaden Lake, who definitely feels that is their community of interest, as well as someone who would be moved from District 2 into 10 in the southern eastern portion of the Unity map, who also expressed concerns, and we've also received other testimony. So for those reasons, although I definitely like the idea behind the Unity map, for those reasons, I cannot support it. Thank you.
Commissioner Levison.
Yeah, thank you. So, I mean, it's no secret to anybody here that I have long been a person that questioned the Unity map because of, most specifically, the incongruity with the map and the overwhelming community of interest testimony that we've received out of my district in particular, District 6. I mean, hundreds and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of pages every single week, all from people from District 6. And Mr. Buchanan and I had a number of spirited engagements over the last few weeks, and I all but invited him to reach out to the Willow Glen Neighborhood Association, who was providing a lot of the testimony. I did that for purposes of trying to promote dialogue, because if that would have happened and there was some sort of middle ground or some adjustments that could have been made as a community, then my job would have been to support that. But what I got was nothing. I got, no, I didn't reach out to them. No, I didn't communicate with them because we disagree. Well, how do you know if you disagree with somebody if you've never even spoken to them? So that underlying attitude with respect to my district, District 6, basically makes this a non-starter. But even if you look at it, I mean, that same attitude pervades into Vendome. And I've got no good reason why the map was drawn the way it was with respect to District 6, what it does with District 3, moving up to District 9, even down into 2 and 10. So it's very curious to me. And then a lot of the public testimony we've gotten is don't break up East San Jose. Obviously not. Nobody wants to do that. And if you look at all these maps, East San Jose is by and large very similar across the maps. So I don't see how any of these maps would break up East San Jose. So if you want to take that testimony into account, that objective is achieved in the first two maps. It's just there's been no testimony that says the first two maps were deficient in that regard, because they're not. They're almost identical. The change happens in the middle of the city and it's unexplained and it's contrary to the community of interest testimony. I don't think we could dutifully and correctly discharge the duties that have been assigned to us under the laws that apply to us and recommend this map as it's currently constituted. I would have loved to recommend this map. I would have loved it, which is why I tried to get Mr. Buchanan to reach out, his group to reach out. That would have made my job a lot easier. Nobody wants to be the guy that doesn't like the Unity map. Nobody wants to be that person, of course not. So let's look at the CBAP districts are the same across all three maps. Again, the East Side districts, very similar across all three maps. What you have here is a lot of testimony about redlining and a lot of anger, and justifiably so. But what I haven't seen, not once, and we've seen how many presentations on this map, is any explanation as to how this map addresses the alleged redlining. It is a presumption that is baked into the testimony and the presentation. It just is. And I would have loved to see that presentation, but it was never given to us. So again, just following what's been told to us, listening to the community of interest testimony they've received, I think the maps that we've already approved deal with the testimony we got in districts 10, 2, 7, 8, 5, 3, 6. I mean, it just does. The maps are very similar in that regard. So I think it's redundant in a lot of ways. And I think that putting forward this map ignores the testimony that we got from people in 6 and 9 and 10. And I would respectfully disagree that putting it forward is either necessary or prudent.
Commissioner, thank you, Commissioner Dillison. Commissioner Sidbury?
Thank you, Fred. when it comes to the unity map, we heard a lot of passionate conversations from the community. And most of the things that stuck out was being disenfranchised, redlining. It brings together the community more so than the other maps, the commission map and the community map. But we really need to be honest with ourselves. Everyone is trying to jockey themselves in a position to do favors, not maybe that's not the right word, favor, but to get their agenda put up front. I think when we just say 2 maps, I think we're going to limit the city council to just 2 maps. And I don't think that may be the right thing to do. With the passionate comments that were made by the citizens on Unity Map, don't you think you'd be doing a disservice to those citizens by not even making an effort or saying, okay, here's 3 maps. And in these 3 maps, we have difficulties in deciding, because really the Unity map, if you go to District 3, look how it's cut up. I mean, you're just diving into District 6 and it just cuts off and it comes back. That to me looks like gerrymandering. That's what it looks like to me. But the citizens are speaking. Were they prompt to call in and make these comments? I mean, we really need to be serious about it. And is it really necessary to have 3 maps? But I just think that if we don't give these citizens that opportunity for the city council to look at their concerns and things that they would like to see, that's being disenfranchised. When it comes to the Asian American or the API community, District 8 is, is heavily populated. And I must agree, you need to find someone that you feel that can win an election or whatever it may be to get on the city council. I mean, when it comes to those of African ancestry, there aren't any. And, it's because we're just spread it out throughout all these districts. And the population shows it. The chart shows the population that we have in Santa Clara County. So I just think that I think we just need to, still give them that opportunity for the city council to make their own decision. I mean, we can put all the footnotes that we want attached to these maps, but like we said earlier, they're the ones that are going to make the final decision, yay or nay. So hopefully, instead of going back through this whole thing again, I just think that the commission D4 map was a great map, but I don't know how truly the community feel about it. And I think that's what we were doing it for, not for ourselves and not for any special interest groups or anything of that nature. And I'm not saying that we are doing that. I'm just making the comment that we gotta do our very best and put our very best foot forward and give the city council some ammunition to work with so that we won't miss this great opportunity in making sure that our city meet the federal and state criteria. So I'm for presenting 3 maps, but that's just me. That's the way I feel. And the 3 maps would be Commission 4D Community Map and Unity Map. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Berrigan?
Thank you, Chair. I formerly served on the Neighborhoods Commission, and there were many nights that I would go into the neighborhoods throughout the city, but mainly in District 3 because that's where my home is. And I would go in and assess different quality of life issues in many different neighborhoods, sometimes 6 neighborhoods per night, to make sure that graffiti, street lights, illegal dumping, everything was assessed, reported to improve quality of life for our neighborhoods. This map, the Unity map, really digs into our neighborhoods and divides. So I cannot support the Unity map. Thank you.
Do we have any more comments? Oh, Commissioner Fadum?
Thank you. Just one last, I think my understanding with what the job we were given was to advise City Council of what we believe is the best recommendations, whether it's a map, a recommendation, and so forth. And I would be concerned that, I mean, they can listen to the public, and to just say, okay, well, these are everything we were given, here, go ahead, you guys choose now. It was like we sat through this whole night. We could have done that at the last meeting. So I feel that it's our obligation to really put forth what we believe is the best, whether it's 1, 2, but I'm hearing from the third that, well, we just give them everything that we've been given. And I think we would be doing a disservice to the City Council if we did that. That's just my 2 cents.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any more comments or questions on this? Yeah, I mean, I just wanted to say that, like I said, there are things I like about each map, and there are things I don't like about each map. This map, I like the fact that, again, they keep those neighborhoods together. That District 6, I think that's a little, and so I do like that the airport is staying in District 3, and as well as some of the other neighborhoods that are currently District 3. But there are other things I don't like about it. The split in Vendome makes absolutely no sense to me at all. You have the way it splits up downtown, and doesn't really make any sense to me at all, because you already have a situation in downtown San Jose where downtown east, as I would call it, is sort of, whatever's east of Market, First Street, is already sort of becoming like the ugly stepchild of the rest of downtown on San Pedro and closer to SAP Center. I think this would actually exacerbate that. And it actually might result in unintended consequences that perhaps folks thinking about. And I think on the other hand,
you're kind of breaking up. Just wanted to let you know.
Oh, I'm sorry. I think there might be some unintended consequences to this map, in terms of how splitting up downtown will affect District 6, and ultimately what that might look like in terms of voter representation among the different groups. But those are unintended consequences. I can deal with those. With some of the other comments made against the Unity map and in favor of the community map, those are not unintended. Those are intended consequences. Those are folks who want the status quo for the most part. And so just because something is a status quo doesn't make it more fair. That's how I see it. The Unity map would be a big change. I get it. And I know that I haven't been through as many presentations as all of you, but I just can't discount like the number of emails we've received, the number of folks who have commented during these meetings. I can't discount their testimony. And so I think it's appropriate to put this map forward for the City Council to review. But ultimately, we would have to have a motion and take a vote on that.
I have my hand up.
Oh, Commissioner Martinez, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to make a motion that we move this map forward to the city council. Again, just because I'm saying, we heard the diversity from this city talk about this map, and we must move their voice to the city council. Otherwise, we're saying, we know better than you. And we shouldn't do that. That's up to the politicians at the council level. And this thing about 5 Latinos, no, we have had African Americans on the council. We have had Asians on the council. We currently have 4 or 5 Latinos, but it's not because they're in Latino districts, it's because they make sense to the people who live in the districts where they went out and said, this is what I want to get for us. And the people said, move forward. People don't elect because of your race. They elect you because of your ideas. So none of this is guaranteeing one color of person or the other. So we need to let the city council deal with this diversity question. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. There's
I'll second it. His
okay.
motion to move the unity map forward.
Okay. Tony, do you want to
I'll take the vote.
take the vote?
Jonathan
Oh, I'm sorry,
Bruns?
Megan. Sorry.
No worries. Jonathan Bruns,
Aye.
Lenka Wright,
No.
BJ Fatum,
No.
Sylvia Alvarez,
No.
Freddie Sidbury,
Yes.
Andrew Ditlevson,
No.
Ramon Martinez,
Yes.
and Adina Cardenas,
Yes.
Gloria Collins,
Yes.
Dee Berrigan,
No.
Fred Buzo.
Yes.
Really?
Just confirm. That motion passes by 6 yes votes and 5 no votes.
So now, I think if there are additional recommendations that the commission would like to make to the council as they consider these maps, this would be, I think, a time to perhaps make a motion so that we can consider some additional recommendations. I get it, we don't want to like make 100 recommendations, but I can tell you, I did have like one kind of odd question that I had for actually Commissioner Ditlevson and Commissioner Fatum, and that was on Canoas Gardens. There was an interesting email that we received from somebody that talked about how they lived in a certain area that was sort of blocked by various walls, and that the only way they could get in or out of their neighborhood was through District 6, but yet they were going to be placed in District 9. So I just wanted to ask, did you have any time to look at that, or do you know anything about that issue? Is it something that, for example, we should ask the council to look at? I just thought it was an odd issue, an interesting issue.
I know where they're talking about. I think Commissioner Ditlevson, do you know what they're talking about? I know exactly where they're talking about.
I actually don't. I have to look at the email again.
Okay, so
Can Jacob, would Jacob be able to bring that up on a map?
Maybe the email, I think, kind of does a better job. What would you say, Commissioner Fatum? Or
yeah, it does. Canoas Gardens actually is broken up area. There's the Almaden Expressway right there, and then you can't get from one side of Canoas Gardens to the other side of Canoas Gardens without actually going into District 6 is what they're talking about. And the reason why is the way the barriers are set up, but also the way the street is itself, that whole area. I don't know if he can bring it up.
Jacob actually just stepped away for 2 minutes to take a quick break, so he'll be back shortly. I'm sorry.
Okay, I don't know if he can bring it up, but that's what they're talking about. It half of Canoas Gardens is on the other side of Balmain Expressway, but most important, the street itself, Canoas Gardens, is not connected. And you can't get from one side of Canoas Gardens to the other side of Canoas Gardens without actually going out. And that's where they're saying you have to go into District 6. And then there's a bunch of barriers that have been put up that prevent even more thoroughfare.
Okay. Yeah, I just didn't know if it was something that was worth asking staff to look at before they present it to council, because I know that working from working in a council office, you tend to focus on the streets that are in your district, and so if they're having to travel through another district to get to their homes, then I could see where there might be some disconnect ultimately between District 6 and District 9. I know it's kind of a small issue, but yeah, I just thought it was worth raising.
Yeah, I mean, certainly worth noting. I mean, I think District 6 is underpopulated in most of the maps anyway. So if they wanted to pick that up into D6 instead, because it's a more natural thoroughfare, if you will, I think that would be a pretty easy thing to do.
Commissioner Martinez, is your hand up, or is that an old hand? Or as someone told me today, it was a legacy hand.
Sorry about that.
All right. So I don't know if there are any other comments or anything that folks want to make sure they get on the record before we close this meeting, but Commissioner Fadum?
Yes, I think Commissioner Barragan's recommendation, I like it, even though it is included into the community map already. I think it is well worth having it as an additional separate recommendation, especially in light of also your indications. It is the oldest neighborhoods to stay contiguous together. So I would welcome Commissioner Barragan to revisit that recommendation again.
I can reread the recommendation. And this would be for all existing maps that we recommend to the council. Recommendation to keep the Guadalupe, Washington, the Goodyear, Mastic, the Tamian, and the Spartan Keys neighborhoods in the same district.
I think Commissioner Alvarez seconded a while back for purposes of taking the vote. So I think Megan, you could call the vote now.
Jonathan Bruns.
Ah.
Lenka Wright.
Aye.
BJ Fadum.
Aye.
Sylvia Alvarez.
Aye.
Freddie Sidbury.
Aye.
Andrew Ditlevson.
No.
Ramon Martinez.
Aye.
And Adina Cardenas.
No.
Gloria Collins.
Yes.
Dee Barragan.
Yes.
Fred Buzo.
Yes.
The motion passes. Thank you.
Does anyone else want to place a recommendation before the commission for consideration? I do not see any hands up. And then I was told that before we adjourn, that the city attorney wanted to provide us with some information on what we can and cannot do from today until final adoption of a map.
Thank you. First, I want to thank all of you for your service and your commitment to this whole process. After tonight's meeting, there'll be no further meetings of the Redistricting Commission. That being said, there, I would suggest all of you still comply with the parameters that the council set forth for the Redistricting Commission until the maps are adopted by the council. If you want to appear at the council meeting, I don't know if the clerk is going to provide commissioners with a separate opportunity to present or speak or anything like that. But if you do come and speak in public comment, for example, as a member of the public, I just want to remind everybody to make sure that that they indicate or state that they are speaking on their own behalf and not on behalf of the whole commission, unless you're so authorized to do that by the commission at this meeting. If there are any other questions, you know, I want you all to still follow and comply with the Brown Act and not have any discussions. And the rationale behind that is in case, for whatever reason, the Redistricting Commission needs to meet again in the future. So if there are any other questions, I'm happy to answer them at this moment. And that concludes what I have to say.
Thanks, Mark. Commissioner Levson?
Yeah, and this isn't necessarily a question for the city attorney. I was just wondering, when we vote on those maps, is the vote tally going to be included in the report for the city council? In other words, do they understand the weight behind each vote?
It should be,
Yes.
yeah.
Yeah, we will be including the vote. And
All right.
who voted how, you know, who voted for what map.
Okay, great. Thank you.
We also have another action item.
Yes, I was just going to
Yeah.
mention that, Tony. So just some clarification. So it would be that we would, that the commission would have to approve all of the prior meeting minutes. Is that what we're talking about?
No, it's just to authorize you and Adina to review and sign off on the minutes for the meetings for which you chaired.
Got it.
You don't have to reconvene this commission in a month or so when all of the minutes are completed. This is what we typically do when a commission is disbanding, is to authorize the chair to approve the final minutes.
So do we have a motion to authorize the commission chairs to review and approve the meeting minutes?
Yes, you do. It is moved.
And I'll second.
I'll take the vote. Jonathan Bruns,
Aye.
Blanca Wright,
Aye.
BJ Fadum,
Aye.
Sylvia Alvarez,
Aye.
Freddie Sidbury,
Aye.
Andrew Ditlevson,
Aye.
Ramon Martinez,
Aye.
and Adina Cardenas,
Yes.
Gloria Collins,
Yes.
Steve Berrigan,
Yes.
Brad Buzo.
Yes.
That motion passes. Thank you.
Commissioner Sidbury, you have your hand up?
Yes, I just want to ask the question, will we be notified as to when the council will take up the issue of the
Yes.
3 maps?
Yes. We're looking at possibly November 30th in the evening, their first meeting, but we're still trying to work out. We already had a schedule and they canceled one of the council meetings, so we're trying to redo our schedule. As soon as I have the confirmed dates, I will let you guys know.
Okay, and in doing so, do you think we'll be able to do it long distance?
Yeah,
versus
our
actually-
council meetings are hybrid.
Okay,
And although we don't have open forum, we do need to take public comment on the action to approve to authorize the chair to approve the minutes. So we do need to take public comment on that because it was an action item.
Oh, okay. No problem.
thank you.
So this is still with the 1 minute limit, and this is specifically on authorizing the chairs to approve the minutes. Blair Beekman.
Hi, this is to approve the minutes of the last meeting.
No, it's to authorize the chair to approve the minutes out once we get them written.
Oh, I see. Okay, thank you. Well, this was an interesting session. I hope it can be a session where we can all continue to work on these issues with City Council and be allowed to make the adjustments and review the minutes process and such for this process. Thank you.
There are no further hands.
Okay. Well, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you all.
Thank you.